still return on a regular basis to assist with the farm operation?
Yeah, it took probably a year or two before I started going back because it was kind of hard to leave the farm. My brother Jeff and I worked together till I left, so it was hard to leave the farm. But after a year or two, my heart started to heal a little bit. And I started going back and I helped them plant crops and harvest hay and harvest crops, deliver crops to the year.
Did you do that on a regular basis?
Whenever I could get away from my job, my full-time job, I would go before work, deliver grain to the elevator, and I would try to get out of work early and plant crops for them. I try to help as much as I could.
And do you still do that today, or does this cause a problem with that?
Well, between this probably caused a problem, and my new job is in Pigeon, and I work more hours, so it's harder to get away to help them when I'm busy at work, because usually we're busy. I work for a farm, J Farm.
So when you were a kid, did you work on the farm?
Yeah, I worked pretty much full time, morning till dark, no cow, dairy farm. So.
And unfortunately, you had a couple accidents on the farm.
Yeah, I've had several.
Did you have one when you were a kid that caused the loss of
Yeah.
What happened to you?
Yeah, I lost my leg when I was 12. In a PTO accident.
And did you have another accident afterwards?
Yeah, I lost my fingers when I was 22.
And that was also on the farm?
Yeah, corn harvester. Yeah.
But you still continue to help out at the farm?
Oh, yeah.
Your Honor, may I approach?
You may.
Sir, I'm going to show you highlighted, and I think that actually is a list of parcels that the farm is comprised of. Is that correct?
Correct.
So just generally, have you, actually, maybe, I think I did you both. Maybe it's just easier to mark these. Yeah. Why don't we just mark these, Your Honor? I didn't, but I think I'll just mark them. So you can follow along.
That's fine.
And actually just mark these. So let's make them 9 and 10, please. We're not submitting yet.
These young guys copies of these.
Yes.
No, but I've sent to them.
And our good.
So, may I just approach the witness so we can go over?
You already covered.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. So 9 is the actual list of the descriptions by tax descriptions. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, and then the other exhibit 10. Does that have the highlighted of where those are actually located?
Yeah.
Okay. And so
this here 40 right here is separate. This on this platform picture.
okay, and you're talking about number 7.
7 and 8. 7 is only a 40 acres. They, my other uncle won that other 40 from my granting system.
Okay, so the legal descriptions or the tax descriptions are correct, but number 7 on the number 10 would have an 80 as opposed to a 40, or maybe
Would have a 40 as opposed to.
That's what I meant. Okay, so generally speaking, do these documents represent all of the farm acreage that your parents ultimately purchased?
Yes, they purchased They purchased, like 1 through 6 was the family farm, that's where we grew up. My dad farmed with Mountain Mountains, that's farmers. And that's the land that when they divided the farm, that's what my dad ended up with. And,
So 1 through 6 would have always been the family farm area that you lived at and.
Yeah.
Farm.
yeah,
Okay, and then the other parcels were purchased later?
the other parcels, yes, my dad purchased from Mount Green State.
And would that be the ones that are 7, 8, 9, 10?
Yeah.
Okay, and when was it that your Uncle Raymond passed away and those parcels were added? Do you remember?
I want to say. Just doing a math today.
Approximately.
Probably around 2000.
So prior to 2000, the entire operation was run on 1 through 6?
No, we rented, I think we rented Uncle Raymond's, like 87.
Okay.
And I believe we rented number, well, we might have rented more than that. Josh would probably know for sure. But we
Right.
rented some.
So let me ask you though, after he passed and those were purchased, was the operation then inclusive of 1 through 10?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you, sir. And can you just describe generally what operation the farm was? Was it beef? Was it dairy? Was it crops?
It was a dairy farm. We had about, when I was at home, we milked about 60 cows, 50 to 60 cows. Plus we had all the beef from the dairy. And we did do some cash crop. We sold dry beans and wheat.
Did you, do you know whether that's about the same number of cows that the brothers continue to milk today, 60?
I'm not sure. I don't think it's 60. They built a parlor since then, a freestyle barn. I don't think they have the same cattle that we had.
With regard to the situation with this deed that was procured by Jeff and Frank, did you discuss that with either of them after you learned of it?
Yes, we tried to sit down with Jeff and come to an agreement where.
Right, you can't say
Yes,
what
yes, I
the
did.
agreement was gonna be, but so the family got together and tried to
Yeah.
resolve this difference?
Several times, Paul and I
Okay.
discussed it.
But that was never accomplished.
No, ma'am.
Did you have any discussions about how the living conditions or how your mother was living at the farm with Jeff and Frank?
Yes.
Had your mom lived there until, all her life until she moved in July, I believe, of 25, right?
Correct. Yeah, June or July, I believe.
And what caused you to have a discussion with your brothers about your mother?
We went over there on a winter night. That was a cold smell. My brother and I, Paul and I, went over there. My mom's house was 34 degrees, 35 degrees on their mom's wall. And we were concerned with her health and her situation. So I confronted Jeff to ask him if there was any way the house could get warmer. He said it was cold outside. There's nothing to do about it.
So was the heat just not turned up, or was it broken?
They have two different heat sources in the house. One's an Air Force wood stove, and I was concerned for mom. I went down and looked at the wood stove. There was holes in there, but it wasn't a strong enough fire to heat the house. And the other source I don't believe was being used. It's a water heat type thing with diesel fuel, and I don't think that was being used.
Did you Did you get that situation fixed or no?
Yeah, we had the sheriff's department come out and do a wellness check on my mom. And then they gave us the option of, I believe it was, I can't remember exactly, but we kind of took control of the situation. We had to make sure mom was warm and at the house, and he came to the house several times after that, and did an inspection.
Is that like protect or don't protect?
Oh, yeah, CPS, I believe.
Okay.
I can't, and, they did a wellness check on my mom, and after that, the house was kept up, but we were and told that we were responsible, Paul and I and my sister are.
Because you were.
Yeah, because we made the wellness check and we did, yeah.
And so after that, ultimately, your mom has moved in with your sister,
Yeah,
Bob, right?
she's good.
And your mom's doing pretty good now, right?
Yeah, she's doing very well. She struggled with some situations with circulation in her leg, and that has improved greatly.
Prior to your dad passing, were you and family members ever made aware of any estate planning that your parents had done or not?
I was a little bit aware. My mom said something about her and dad had gone up to see Don Clark, and that they had come up with a decision or a plan. I didn't ask for any details. I didn't want to know like that. The way I understood it was when they passed, that their wishes were.
So when they both were deceased,
Yeah.
there would be some distribution, and you
Yeah,
weren't sure
yeah.
what that was.
I wasn't sure what.
But that was their joint decision.
That was their decision they made, yeah.
And did you know that your parents dealt with Don Clark as their lawyer?
Yes, yeah.
That the person that they used while
Yeah.
they lived in this area?
Yeah, I think that's the only one I think they use. I've been in this office before for other.
What do you think of the situation with the deed?
Total disrespect to my mom. I think my brothers were influenced by somebody else, third party. And I think they were deceived. Oh,
You make that on your own.
yeah.
The third party that you're talking about is the one that actually drafted the deed.
Correct.
Thank you, sir.
No question.
Morning, Mr. Wishlager.
Good morning.
You said that you left the farm in 1997, is that correct?
Yeah.
And you had a full-time job with Jade Farms?
I worked for another farmer at that time with more liberal hours that I can just kind of set my time. So,
Where was that located?
that was south of X.
Okay, and so you said you came home to the family farm on average, how often to help out?
Depends on what they were doing. If they were helping with hay or doing hay, probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 times a month, maybe more. Depends on what they were doing, if they were planting. And it also depended on the job I was at.
And did you voluntarily come back to help?
Yes, I did. I wanted to see my brother's farm prosper. So, yeah. There was a short stint where well, it's been 10 years ago now. I found a pickup for sale, and I talked to my mom and my dad, and they bought a pickup, and I whipped it off for like $10 an hour. Totally whipped off. That's the only income I ever got.
From the farm?
Maybe gas in the pickup once in a while. They'll tell me to put gas in my truck.
And you said you believe, first of all, when the deed that's caused all the issues that we're here for today. Did you ever talk to your mom about that deed?
Yeah, after I found out about it.
But not before?
No, I had no idea that it was drawn up or anything.
And how did you come to find out about the deed?
We're having issues with, we're having issues with some of my mom's life insurance policies that my dad had. And we were trying to figure out the legal part of it. And we were under the impression that the third party had some of the documents. So then we took what we had up to a CPA in that Mike Door, and he informed us that all of my mom's land was no longer in her name, and that's the first we were aware of that. So then we went to the Register of Deeds, and that's when we obtained the deed that Doc and Frank and a third party.
And when you're talking about the third party, you're talking about the person who drafted the deed?
Yeah, LA, I believe, is on the deed.
Okay.
I don't believe there's any other name. Brian Flake, I believe.
Yes.
Brian Flake in LA.
And are you aware, were you anywhere near the farm on the day that the deed was signed?
No, ma'am.
And so you're not aware of, you said in your testimony that you believe that they lied to your mom, that your brothers were influenced and that they lied to your mom. How did you come about leaving that knowledge?
Just a past history of knowing the third party.
Okay, nothing further.
Read right, Ms. Prill.
No, thank you.
Mr. Wishlager, you may step down. You're not supposed to. Sir, please raise your right hand. You swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Thank you. See you. Mr. Locke, you may proceed.
Thank you. Sir, would you please state your name for the record?
Paul Joseph Wishlager.
And you are one of the 6 kids that Audrey and Ken had?
Yes.
Okay, and your brother said where you are in the pecking order, but I forgot, which one are you?
Youngest.
What do you do? Where do you currently work, sir?
City Maddox.
And how long have you worked for the city of Maddox?
14 years.
Did you ever work on the farm?
Yes.
And how long did you work on the farm?
I believe I started working in a factory around 20 years old. And that's when it went from full-time we all worked on the farm as kids. And then when I turned 20, I went to a factory. And then from then on out, until this family issue that we're dealing with today came up, I helped on and off. Not so much with the cattle, but with the crops, planting, harvesting the crops, working the fields.
So that was true when your dad was also working the farm?
All through, you know, when we were kids, we worked there a lot more. From 20 until this family issue, it was, like I said, helped him cut firewood, brought firewood up to the house. Went out with my brother, Jeff, helped him get firewood for the family farm, you know, lots of stuff.
Just general assisting with everything's related to the farm then?
Yes.
And that would be in addition to the fact that you worked off from the farm a full-time job.
Yes.
But you were familiar with things going on at the farm, I'm assuming.
Yeah, we grew up there, so we started at a young age.
And would it be true then that the involvement that you had after you took a full-time job stayed about pretty much the same helping out with crops and firewood and all that sort of thing until this issue arose.
Correct.
And when this issue arose, did you no longer go to assist on the farm?
The relationship between me and my brothers deteriorated to the point where our relationship deteriorated, so no.
You didn't approve of what they had done to your mother?
No,
Were you surprised about that?
yes,
Shocked about that?
yes.
Never thought they would do such a thing.
I thought my mom was always honest and truthful to them, and I think she would have treated them fairly. I don't think they need to do this.
With respect to finding out about the deed, is that your recollection, or well, strike that. Were you involved with Ken sorting out these issues with the accountant, or was that just him and another?
Did you say with the accountant?
Right.
Um,
Well, let me go back. Did you have anything to do with trying to sort out the life insurance issues?
Not a lot. There was talk about that we were gonna try and help. There were a few things that were going on where, the insurance agent, had some red flags pop up.
Okay.
And
So,
who
but
was-
as far as finding out about the deed, how did you find out? That's what I should have asked.
the November 23rd piece.
Yeah.
Pretty much the same way Kenny did. We were trying to deal with the life insurance policies. There was a lot of confusion going on. We wanted to let someone with professional experience, Mike Dorr, look at them and give us his opinion on them. And then he said, my sister Barb was there first, and he said, things have happened. I'm not sure what he all told her, but he said, things have happened. You guys might want to go up to the registry of deeds and see what's going on.
All right. So would it have been then you and Barb and Ken that kind of took the ball and started rolling? Or
We drove from Mike Dorr's office to the registry of deeds, yes.
And subsequent to finding out, did you have conversation with Frank or Jeff or both about the deed?
Mainly Jeff.
Okay. And did he tell you anything about why the deed was done? Did he say anything to you?
No, we kind of moved into more of the conversation where I believe that he didn't want the whole entire farm, but I think for some reason, he was very nervous and scared that he was gonna get mistreated. And what confused me the most, excuse me, that my mom was always honest and good to them. And she never mistreated them or deceived them. And for them to deceive her like this, it was very confusing. That's where I probably am leaning towards Kenny. What he said is that this third party influenced them. Because my mother was never the type of person to mistreat her children. I apologize.
You're fine. I know this is very hard. It's hard for everybody.
I'm done. Thank you, Judge.
But with respect to the deed as it stands, do you believe that it was fraudulently procured by?
I believe, Don Clark, I don't know much about legal.
No.
Okay. Yes.
Were you present when your mom signed the deed?
No.
Okay. So you don't know what she was told when that happened?
No.
You, You know, though, that that was never her and your dad's intent that Frank and Jeff get everything, especially during. Thank you, sir.
How's Tim?
No questions for this witness, Your Honor.
Cool, so you're used to it. I like your next one.
Yes.
I swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God.
Thank you. Thank you.
The tissues are right next to you.
I know,
You need a drink of water, or are you okay?
I'm okay.
Okay. You state your name for the record, please.
Barbara, please.
And,
Excuse me, Ms. Leach, could you spell your last name?
Leitcha.
Thank you.
and are you currently employed?
Yeah.
Where do you live?
I live in Jackson, Michigan,
And how long have you lived there?
in 31 years.
Did you move from the family farm to Jackson?
I moved from this area. to Jackson.
Okay. So you left the home and were working in this general area and then went to Jackson?
Yes.
What did you do for a living?
When I lived here, I milked cows.
And was that for the family farm or was that for another farm?
It was for other farms.
Did you go back to the farm to help though, like the boys did, or not so much?
Having 3 children and being single, I would go help with hay if they needed it, but I probably not as much as.
You didn't have time to breathe, let alone help. You had 3 children and a full-time job. But were you familiar generally with things that were going on at the family farm?
Yes, yes.
Generally speaking, what was the family dynamic as far as, did you folks get together for holidays and that sort of thing?
Yes.
And was that, where was that typically that you would get together?
At mom's and dad's, when we were growing up. Because all the uncles kind of farmed together, I mean, we were with the cousins.
So big extended family
Yes.
get-togethers, okay. And about how many times a year would that happen?
Well, for kids, we celebrated all the cousins' birthdays every time it was a birthday, so. And because we farmed together, all summer was together doing hay, doing whatever had to be done, so. We were close.
Did there come a time that you filed for conservator of your mom?
I did not file, my mom requested me to be her conservatorship.
Okay. Was that actually Don Clark that initiated that?
Yes,
And when did that occur?
that was, I believe, January 6th of 2024.
And was that after the deed that has been admitted as 7 and 8? And I can show you the deed that Linda Main drew.
Yes.
That after
Yes.
that was found out.
Yes.
And was that because your mom wasn't mentally capable of dealing with her finances, or was that because of the emotional and the tension that was being caused?
Because of the issue of the deed that my mom was totally competent.
Okay. So it was difficult for her to address that. And that was the solution Don came up with apparently.
Well, mom wanted somebody to have some power so she could be persuaded into doing things anymore.
Okay. Where is your mom currently living?
She lives with me now.
Were you the one that actually went to the register of deeds and got a copy of the deed after the door meeting?
You know, it was Kevin and Paul and I went.
Okay. Did you show it to your mother?
Yeah,
And when did you show your mother the deed?
when we found the deed at the courthouse, and we were given the deed in the courthouse, prayed what to do. And we decided, let's take this to mom and just see what she knows about it, because we were just like awed by the contents of the deed. And so we took it to her after we found it.
And may I approach your honor?
Yes, you may.
And I'm going to show you, oh, I didn't give you these yet, did I? May I
Yes,
publish?
yes, you may.
Those are the originals. Okay. Back to the ranch here. All right, so I'm going to show you what is in as exhibit 7 and 8. This may be a little bit of a different looking, but I think, yeah. The first 3 pages is 7 and the glasses are you?
No, I'm
Okay,
good.
okay. So is this look to be what you actually found at the register of deeds, that being exhibit 7?
Yes.
Right. And let's talk about that. So you first saw this deed in January of 24.
January 12th.
Okay. And did you then show your mother exhibit 7?
Yes.
Did you also have exhibit 8, which was the second one that apparently was
Yes.
recorded?
When we went to the register of deeds with the parcel numbers that my door had given us, and the first one she handed me, she said this is homespun.
But what she said, did she give you both of them at that time though, or did?
As she printed them off, yes.
Okay, so let's talk about the first one. You know whose writing is on that, and when I say writing, I'm not talking about the typewritten, I'm talking about what is written. You know whose writing that is on that deed?
I wasn't totally positive, but I would have assumed it was my brother Frank.
Okay, and why do you think it was Frank's?
Because I knew LA was Linda. And his signature was on it.
Okay,
And
so did you know that, did there come a time where you knew that the writing was because the register of deeds wouldn't record without it saying who drafted it?
there came a time when I learned that.
Okay, but that wasn't that day.
No,
Okay, when did you learn that the register of deeds wouldn't record it without the writing?
I think it was sometime in the summer of last year after one of the depositions, right?
Okay. Of Linda May.
Yes.
Okay. So, basically this is Frank's writing on page 2 of 3 of exhibit. Of exhibit, 7. Yeah, okay. Did you ever talk to your mother about, this specific document? You said you showed it. to her.
Yes.
Did you tell her what it said?
We read it to her, yes, and went over it with her. We just wanted to know if she knew about it, because
Okay, and when you told her about it, did she know about it?
she knew about signing this, but she didn't know about the first 2 pages. She gave us a different reason why she signed the notary page.
All right, so she knew that she had signed it, but what did she tell you she was signing?
She said it was something in regards to getting a loan for the East Barn to repair it.
And did you tell her that that's not what it said in the first 2 pages?
Yes.
And was she surprised?
Yeah, she said there has to be a page. There has to be something about the East Barn.
But
And I
there
said,
wasn't.
There wasn't. This is what.
Exhibit 8. Was a second deed that was recorded with the same signature page as the first deed, but now typed out, right?
Yes.
And that was done by Linda May, type. You don't know,
I'm assuming it was.
but you don't know for sure.
Right, I mean, and this was actually the first deed they gave us because this one was registered after.
Okay. Did you know that after the boys procured this deed, that they also took your mom out of the money and the income from the farm? Did you know that or not?
I knew that when if you're speaking of when they started their another checking account, because I was just helping mom balance hers. And
So you knew they started a second checking account?
yes,
Okay, and when was that?
I'm gonna say about May of 24, but I'm not positive. It was late spring of 24.
Where is your mom currently living?
With
And, how is she doing?
well, very well.
Been going good for her physical and emotional well-being?
Yes, the vascular doctors can't believe it's the same foot from a year ago.
Did you personally try to talk to Jeff and Frank about the deed or not?
Yes, after we found it, we had gone over to mom's a couple of days later.
So, did you speak with Jeff or Frank individually, or was it always with Paul and Ken?
It was always with somebody else.
Okay. And with regard to the East Barn, do you know what the story is about the East Barn?
I know from what I was told.
Okay, never mind. You didn't kind of, it's just what you were told, you know, your personal knowledge.
Right, I have some personal knowledge.
And you think that Frank and Jeff were influenced by a third party as well?
Yes.
say what they have done is, you think it's right?
No,
It's a lie, isn't it?
yes.
Yes, Your Honor. Were you aware that there was a time where your brothers Frank and Jeff were on your mother's bank account?
I guess it was a farm account where it was my mom, my dad, Frank and Jeff.
Correct. And are you aware that there's a time around, October or so of 2023 where she left the checkbook to Jeff and said, you take care of it, you're running the farm, it's your bills?
What I recollect about that is mom told me that she was going to tell Frank, not Jeff. I was under, the conversation I had with mom was Frank could run it, she was frustrated with it. And I told her she should not be frustrated with him, she needs to do this lovingly. Because it doesn't need to be angry, but the conversation I had with mom is she was going to let Frank take over the checkbook.
So you're aware that there was a period of time where Frank was writing checks on behalf of the farm?
I don't know to what extent Frank took over, but I know it didn't. Mom got the checkbook back. And it was not a long amount of time. Just, I can't tell you what checks Frank wrote or didn't write.
And regarding the November 23rd, 2023 deed, you weren't aware of any talks about this deed beforehand, before it was executed, is that correct?
Can you repeat?
Sure. The deed that we're talking about today, after, you were never aware of it before Mike Doerr's conversation, is that correct?
Correct.
And you weren't there the day that your mom signed it, is that correct?
Correct.
And you don't know her state of mind on that day, do you?
Specifically, no.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Regret.
So do you know if your mom was frustrated because she found out that there was a bill that was late and it was in her name?
She was
With
frustrated.
Candy or some such
Yes, she
provider?
was frustrated because they were only able to pay the minimum due. And the bills were growing.
So she was frustrated with how they were running the farm. right?
Yes, she had several times said they need to sell the cows.
Next witness. Calling Ms. Wishlager.
Yes.
Stay right.
She can stay right here?
Yes.
Oh, all right. That's fine.
Yeah, you may proceed.
Would you?
Oh, I need to.
Just
swear.
I was gonna say,
Sorry.
I was gonna say,
So used to do it over here.
I know, that's why, but,
Miss, would you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
yes.
Thank you.
And obviously, I normally stand, Your Honor, but maybe it would be better if I sit since she's next to me, or do you want me to stand?
I actually prefer you to the podium if you don't mind.
If I'm gonna be at the podium, then I think I'd rather just, well, okay,
You know what?
you know what?
This is
I
a
think
bench
it's-
trial. This is a bench trial.
Well, no,
We're gonna make it
it's okay.
simple.
No,
Be seated, Mr. Wishlager. Go ahead.
okay. Well, I don't wanna be out of order here.
No. Believe me, you'll know if the court feels you're out of order.
Thank you.
You'll be notified.
It's just easier for her to hear me, I think.
That's fine.
Yes,
I have no problem.
okay. Would you please state your name for the record?
Audrey Wishlager.
And Mrs. Wishlager, you are the matriarch of the family, the Wishlagers, right?
Yes,
Okay, and your husband passed in 2023?
yes,
Okay. And you're now currently living with your daughter Barb,
yes,
and how has that been going?
good,
You look like you're feeling pretty good. Are you feeling pretty good?
yes. Mhm.
Okay. Did you and your husband have an estate plan regarding the farm?
True Don Clark, yes,
All right. And have you and your husband used Don Clark as your, you might be right, Your Honor. She's having to strain her. Might be better.
You're just fine.
Not me though. Is this, or is it?
No, you're fine.
Oh, it doesn't have a cord anymore.
No.
Oh, wow, we have technology. Okay. So, you and your husband always did work through Don Clark,
yes.
and do you remember about how many years that would be?
Probably about 10 years, I don't know, something like that.
But, so, from the time that you first did an estate plan, then you dealt with Don Clark?
Yes,
Okay. And I know that we're not supposed to ask our ages, but how old are you, Mrs. Bushwater?
83,
And was your husband the same sort of age when he passed in 23?
he was 91,
And did you and your husband have an estate plan through Don Clark regarding what was supposed to happen with the farm?
yes,
And was it something that you and your husband had determined through conversation and also talking with Don Clark?
yes,
Okay. Was there supposed to be any transfer of any of your assets prior to both you and your husband's death?
probably, yes, probably after we passed,
Okay, so you were supposed to own everything until you died, and then the estate plan would do the transfer? Is that how it was supposed to be?
yes,
So nothing was to go anywhere until you had passed?
yes,
Okay, because your husband had already predeceased you?
right,
Okay, so once you and your husband were gone, then that's when the estate plan would be effective, right?
yes,
Okay. And did you ever discuss any plan or any estate plan that would be such that you gave away everything you ever owned to
No.
the exclusion of you and 4 siblings?
no,
Not 4 siblings, 4 children. But no, you never discussed such a plan. Did you ever intend such a plan that you would not own any of your property till your death?
no,
Did you ever discuss with anyone giving everything you ever owned to your sons Jeff and Frank?
no,
Did you ever were you ever told that that was what was happening with the signature on the page that you signed?
no,
In 2023, there's testimony that you were apparently frustrated a little bit with some of the bills and how things were being paid. Was that true?
yes,
Okay. And had you also told the boys that you weren't willing to co-sign or get loans in your name? Did you tell them that?
yes,
Excuse me, Mr. Earl, when you say boys. who are
I'm
you
sorry,
referring to?
Frank and, when I say boys, I'm talking about Frank and Jeff, because they were the ones that were full-time farming.
right,
Okay, the rest of the crew came and helped, but it was Jeff and Frank who were there
yeah,
primarily, is that correct?
yes,
Okay. And did that cause, Frank and or Jeff to be angry with you? Was there some
Sometimes.
tension, was there some
Sometimes.
tension about the finances?
Yes,
Okay. Did either Frank or Jeff yell at you about any of that?
yes, sometimes.
Okay. Do you remember Frank taking you to Don Clark's office in 2023?
Yes,
Did Frank tell you that there was a mistake in the deeds that Don Clark had done in the estate plan of 2021?
yes,
Right. And did you and your husband go to Don Clark's office to sign labor deed after that?
I really didn't know what I was signing, but
Right, but,
Yes. Oh,
but
yeah,
did you
yeah.
and, you and your husband go?
yes,
Okay, and Don Clark never explained to you anything about the deed that you signed?
yes, you're right.
Okay, and your husband was actually in the car, was not even able to get out of the car to sign the deed, is that true?
Yes,
Do you remember being shown the deed, that Linda MAINE drew up in January of 24? Do you remember when your daughter came and showed you that deed?
no,
You don't remember when your daughter showed, well,
that would be after you went by my door.
yeah, hold on.
Yeah, after
Hold
that.
on. May I have exhibit 7, Your Honor?
Yeah. Would you like 8 as well?
I'll just go with 7.
Okay.
I'm showing you the 3rd page of exhibit 7, which is the actual deed with the descriptions of all of your property, and then language regarding all personal property you ever owned or had.
I never seen this paper.
Okay, so you never saw pages 1 and 2 before you signed page 3, is that true?
Yes,
Okay, and when you signed page 3, was there any writing on page 3 except for your signature?
just my signature.
All right. Did you write anything else on other than your signature?
No,
Okay, and do you remember Brian Palaga being there?
yes,
Okay, and did you deal previously with Brian Palaga regarding loans that you and your husband had gotten?
yes,
And was he the guy that you dealt with for loans?
yes.
Okay, and what were you told was the reason why you needed to sign that document?
That they want a loan that they can fix the East Farm. Syndicate.
Okay, so you were told that you needed to sign so they could get a loan for the East Farm?
Correct. Yes.
Anything about it including a full transfer of all the assets you ever owned?
No, no, you're right. I never seen that.
Okay. Did you, well, let me ask you, did they ever get a loan to fix the East Barn, or is it still in shambles?
I would say no.
Okay, you haven't been there for a while, I'm
Oh,
assuming.
yeah, I would say they didn't get none.
Okay. Did they get it, as far as you know, was the East Barn fixed before you left in July of 25?
No, it's not fixed.
Okay. Is there any truth? We'll strike that. Do you recognize the writing on the, you recognize the writing below? Do you know who wrote that?
You mean here?
No, I mean that,
I don't know who wrote it.
okay,
I don't really know. No.
all right. But it's your testimony, you never saw the first 2 pages.
Right.
The first time you saw the first 2 pages is when you were shown this deed by your children,
Yes,
Barb Ken and Paul?
Yeah, well, they went by my door.
Okay. So with respect to that document, Exhibit 7, there was a material misrepresentation about the reason for your signature.
Correct, yes,
Okay. And you were told that it was to assist Frank and Jeff to get loan for the East Farm,
yes,
which was in need of being repaired.
yes,
And you had previously told them that you wouldn't allow the loan in your name, but they could get a loan in their name.
yes,
Okay. And what they told you about that signature and the reason for your signature, that was a lie.
yes,
And Frank and Jeff knew that that's not the reason that they were asking for the signature. They knew that that was a deed to convey everything that you owned.
yes,
That was a lie too, was it not?
yes,
And you were told a lie to get you to sign the deed, right?
yes,
Because if you knew what it actually was for, you would not have signed the deed, would
No.
you?
no,
Under any circumstances, would you have given everything away in your lifetime?
no, I wouldn't have.
But you didn't know what the actual purpose was, and you didn't see the exhibit pages 1 and 2, and you trusted Frank and Jeff.
I did, yes,
That's why you signed what you signed, right?
yes,
And now, we're here because there's a deed that's transferred everything you've ever owned in your entire lifetime, and you don't have it, right?
yes,
And that's not right, is it?
no. And I would have been fair with them no matter what.
And when you talk about being fair, you're talking about when you actually passed, that they would have gotten the lion's share of the real estate, but not all of it, right?
Yes,
Did there come a time that the boys limited your access to the income from the farm?
what was that, ma'am?
Have you had any farm income for 25 or 26?
No,
Are you living totally on your social security?
yes,
And what is your social security?
1,500. Oh, nine,
Wait. So is it about $1,000 a month?
yeah,
All right, do you have any other source of income other than that?
no,
Before you moved to your daughter's house, did you feel safe and were you happy at the farm?
it was probably okay, but it,
You gotten a little dicey
yeah,
because of this circumstance?
a little bit. Then my health problems.
Okay. Are you asking the court to declare the November 21, 23 deed void?
Yes,
And you believe you should be the owner of all the assets that you and your husband had during your lifetime, right?
yes,
Thank you.
Did you have a cross-examination?
yeah.
Morning, Mr. Wishlager, how are you?
Good morning.
So it's your testimony that you did not look at any of the documents, but you signed your name, is that correct?
Yes,
Did you ever have any discussions with anybody about the documents?
no,
And Brian Palega came to the house to talk to you about the document?
he didn't talk to me about it. He just come over.
And were you alone with Brian Palega?
Yes.
And for how long were you alone with Brian
Well,
Palega?
listen to the boys, Frank and Jeff come in the house.
And then did Frank or Jeff make any statements to you about why you were signing?
Before,
And,
but not in front of Brian Plager though.
and at that time, you were of sound mind?
Yes,
And you know that it's your duty to read all things that you sign, correct?
I just did what they told me. I didn't read it. I just did what he was coming out for.
Okay, and you stated previously that you believed that it was to some kind of document to get a loan, is that correct?
Yes,
Now, in the past, you've gotten loans from Mr. Palega and Greenstone, is that correct?
yes.
And did that ever have anything to do with the Huron County Register of Deeds?
No,
So you then wrote a check to the Huron County Register of Deeds in your handwriting in your name to then file the deed, is that correct?
yes,
And so you knew that it had something to do with the Register of Deeds if you were writing out a check for it to be,
no,
okay.
no,
But you did sign a check
yes,
to the Register of Deeds with your name on it,
yes,
okay, for it to be filed,
yes.
okay, nothing further.
Did you ever see what was filed?
No,
Did you continue to believe that you signed a loan document?
yes,
That's what you were told,
yes,
and you previously signed loan documents with Brian Blair.
yes.
Thank you.
Court has a couple of questions. Ms. Wishlager, regarding this deed, this is exhibit 7, I'm confused. You had mentioned earlier that you and your husband went to Mr. Clark's office and to sign some documents, but your husband couldn't even get out of the vehicle, correct?
Yes,
That's not regarding this, is it? This except
No.
exhibit 7. Was that to prepare your estate planning with Mr. Clark? When your
Yeah.
husband, when you
No.
and your husband went to Mr. Clark's office and your husband could not get out of the vehicle, what was the purpose of that meeting?
well, Frank took us there. And I didn't really understand, what was happening.
Okay, so the deed or the document that you signed, that was in front of Brian Palega, correct?
Yep,
And that was at your house?
yes,
Who other than you and Mr. Palega were there when you signed whatever you signed?
Frank and Jeff,
Okay. And your testimony is that when Mr. Palega was there, he never explained to you what this was about. He was there just to have you sign the document. Is that correct?
yes.
Follow-up questions, Mr. Luck.
Mr. Palega was there to be the notary.
Yes,
Okay. And there was no discussion about the front 2 pages.
correct, yes,
And in fact, the testimony in Brian Palega, he never saw those documents either. Were you aware of that
yes,
after the fact?
yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Ms. Young, any follow-up questions in light of?
1 second, Rob.
Sure.
Was Brian Palega at your house twice?
No,
Did he come Did he come once and have you sign the documents
Just one,
and he never came back
no,
the second time?
no.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, Mr. Earl?
No, thank you.
Court doesn't have any. She is also stepping down as witness in this matter too.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your next witness.
Your Honor, I would submit the depositions, and I'm assuming that since it's a bench trial, that you don't want those read into the record, but if you do want those read into the record, then I can make arrangements for that.
No, I can read those
Okay,
at another time.
then, we rest.
All right. The depositions, where are they?
I thought oh, sorry. Okay,
Oh, wait, I see the one,
well, actually,
what's miscellaneous here.
wait, sorry. Here they are, right here.
Okay.
And that's, again, the deposition of Don Clark and Brian Falega, and both of those transcripts have been submitted to Ms. Young.
All right, they were already admitted by stipulation as well. The court's going to take a short recess to read these over, and then we will begin with the defendant's case in chief right after that.
Thank you, Your Honor.
We'll take a recess. Thank you. Court recalls the matter of Audrey and Wishlager versus Jeffrey and Frank Wishlager, 24-105-963 CH. Court took a brief recess to have the opportunity to review, to read, that is, two depositions. One of Donald Clark and one of Mr. Brian Falega. And my understanding is that the plaintiff has rested in this matter. Is that correct, Mr. Prill?
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right. Counsel, Ms. Young, it's your opportunity for opening statement.
Yes, thank you.
Your Honor, this is, as you heard, a story about a family, the Wishlagers, who have a family farm that has been worked together as a family for years. But the truth of the matter is that some of the people left the farm at different ages, 18, 25, but the one person that always remained was Jeff. Jeff never left the farm. He worked there for 41 years. You'll hear from his testimony. He never received any kind of salary. And it's to his understanding that from his mother and father that he would always be put on, his name would always be put on the land. And then came in 2006, Frank Wishlager came back to the farm after working at Kohler Construction, and he worked there for 18 years, and you'll understand that he receives a very minimal salary while working there. And at this point, when he was asked to come back to this farm, the mother, Miss Audrey Wishlager, told him that she would put him on the land as well. So it's his understanding when he came back to the farm that his name would be put onto the land. And it's also our understanding and what the Jeff and Frank will testify to, that they never coerced their mother into making these decisions on the November 23rd, 2023 deed, that she, on her own free will, in May of 2023, asked a friend of the family, because she asked a friend of the family to do a deed to execute all the parcels of the land to Jeff and Frank, because she said they earned it. And at that point, the boys, well, Jeff and Frank, never made any comments to their mother about getting a loan. You'll hear that there was never a loan procured before or after the time that, after the deed was signed, and that they asked, she asked a family friend, even though she had Don Clark as person who handled her estate planning, she asked that because Don Clark had made a mistake in the past and had taken Jeff's name off and put Kenny's name on to a property. And I believe, Your Honor, you will have read in the deposition that that was a mistake that Mr. Clark admitted to. And so at that point, Ms. Audrey Wishlager said that she didn't trust Mr. Clark and that she wanted to transfer the land to both Jeff and Frank. And so she asked for that to be done. And it took 6 months for that to happen because nobody was coercing her, nobody was asking her to, nobody was putting any pressure on her. The deeds weren't signed or drawn up until November of 2023. So in this case, there's no evidence of Frank or Jeff coercing her besides her saying that she didn't understand the deed that she signed and also made a check to the Register of Deeds and asked Frank to go file. So in this case, Your Honor, we're just waiting for you to hear the testimony of Frank, Jeff, and Nancy and find that there was no fraud and that the deeds stand on as they were written and signed.
Thank you. Your first witness, please.
I call Mr. Jeff Wishlager to the stand.
Great. Good morning, sir. Would you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So,
Yeah.
okay.
Yes.
Please be seated. John, you're with us.
Please state your name for the record.
Yes. Got Vermont, Wishlager,
And where do you live?
1100 Water Grove, Annex Michigan.
And is that where the family farm is?
Yep,
And how old are you today?
59.
And what do you do for a living?
I work on family farm.
And at what age did you start helping your mom and dad on the farm?
5 years old.
And was that commonplace for everybody in the family to start
Yep.
working at
Yep.
that age?
Yep,
And what kind of things were you doing at 5 years old?
garden tractor.
Okay, and so you remained on the farm your whole life, is that
Yeah.
correct? And when you turned 18, you never asked for a salary, is that correct?
Nope.
And what did your duties include on average?
Anything and everything.
Can you give me some
Please.
examples?
Prill and hay, helping out. Machine equipment.
Planting,
Yep. I didn't plan it up until probably, let's see, about planning 89, about 95, then I between the two of us, we both planned it.
and on average, how many hours per day did you work?
16 plus.
And can you tell me a little bit about your other family's involvement in the farm during these times?
My younger brother's helped quite a bit. My older brother helped. But as years went on, it just got to the point I didn't care if it came.
And why was it that you didn't care if they came?
He yelled at me all the time.
And was that before the lawsuit?
Yep,
And what were they yelling at you about?
how I was firing. I found the same as my dad did.
But you stuck it out anyways.
Yep. One time I was out in the tractor, I remember taking that bed, I wanted to walk home.
But you walked home, you wanted to walk,
Because he was arguing with me,
okay,
telling me how to find, and I put a bullseye chopper on it, in mud, and even about buying the chopper, anybody with common sense should know that. The self-propel with voice and canes would walk right straight through it.
and you lived on the farm your whole life as well, is that correct?
Yep,
And do you know on average what you would get paid if you worked on another farm?
not really.
Would it shock you if I told you it was about $40,000 a year for an average farm hand?
No, it's not. Yeah, it was figured about that, but I never thought of it.
Okay, so you're 59 now, and you say you started working as, let's say, 18 for the farm. Then you have worked, how many years without a salary?
41 years.
And you're aware if you worked at a different farm for all those 41 years at about 40 grand, you would have made about $1.6 million, is that correct?
I was pretty happy about that.
Probably could have my own, could have ran my farm myself and had it all paid for already.
And
I
did,
did it all myself.
and did you have,
The money I made,
did you have a good working relationship with your mom and dad over all those years?
yes,
And you actually lived in the same house with them?
yeah,
When you worked those long hours?
yep.
Now, I wanna bring you to 1997, was a year that Kenny left the farm, and your parents were in Florida. Did there come a time you were the only person on the farm working?
I did help there, but I was the only one, I had how was it? In 97, Pink County Cheese was going out of business, and my mom and dad was in Florida. And you needed a social security number and a signature to get, 1090, form for the taxes, and it's been in my name since 97.
Okay, so you're
Got
saying,
all the milk and income, if you went by the government, it was put in my name. But the check came in my mom's name, then around 2011, it got put in mine and Frank's name. Cause my mom got a dividend from the DFA.
okay, so since 1997, whose name was on the 1099 form that you received from the milking company?
Mine,
Okay. And how many cows were you milking in 1997?
around 65.
And how many are you milking today?
Right now, we're at 65. We had a studio come in, herd, we lost a lot of cattle till the studio.
Okay. And,
At one time, we was milking up close to 100, me and Frank.
and how did you procure the extra cattle?
In 2021, me and Frank took out a loan to buy cattle. We bought so many cattle, and then what was left of the loan, we went and paid some off on bills we owed.
Okay. Now, I'd like to bring you to, around the November of 2023. Do you remember hearing any conversations about the land being transferred over into your name?
I just a little bit that, my older brother Frank was worried that my oldest sister was gonna try taking a sixth of the whole farm. That she would get a sixth the same as me.
And did you think that was fair?
Oh,
And so, at this point, did you ever talk to your mom directly about the deed that was going to be signed over?
Nope,
Did you ever explain to her that you were taking a loan out?
nope.
Did you ever say that you needed her to sign for a loan?
And 2 years prior, 3 years prior to that, me and my brother took out a loan for 115,000 through Greenstone, and we're the only two on this loan.
Because what did your mom tell you about any debt going forward in her name?
She said we weren't making money, but I always asked her, if we're not making money, how come we almost have this tractor paid for? We may be behind on bills, but there ain't a farmer that even can't say that gets behind on bills.
Did there come a time when she told you that she would no longer co-sign her name for any kind of loan?
She never said she went, my younger brother Kenny told her that if she don't co-sign for that loan for the tractor, we're gonna buy it, but we were able to buy it.
And when you say we, you mean,
Me and Frank.
okay,
And then in the following year later, me and Frank we bought a chopper, and we didn't tell anybody because we knew we'd get yelled at.
but did you buy that with your own money?
We got a loan out to Greenstone, and then that's how we paid to it by what we made money off the milk and the cows there.
Now, can you tell me a little bit about the status of the East Barn?
And we were gonna have the east barn all tin on the walls, make it all look good, but when the Amish came to do that, they told us that, instead of rebuilding, putting all that tin on, we probably had to tear it down because we could put all the tin on in a year or two. It could blow down and land on the other barn, you know, you gotta put all that money in it, so it'd be better if you just tore it down. So we had to tore it down. And then my brother Frank went up to Greenstone about getting a loan. And the only way we could take a loan if our name was on the property. And it wasn't on the property at that time, so we couldn't take a loan. So me and Frank just decided, well, when we make the money to redo these fines, that's when we do it. And we, at the rate farming sometimes can go, you can get, we figure we're making in a little while, but
So in November or October of 2023, there was no discussion about getting a loan to build the east barn with your mother, was it?
nope.
Object leading.
Response,
I'll be worried, Your Honor.
sustain.
Can you tell me about, were there any discussions about, the east barn being built with your mother?
Not at that time, no. Right then, we were kind of more with the next step.
And
And
did,
they were the farming. We're, well, not far behind on farming, but we just keep the farm going. Never discussion about a loan on these farm at that time.
did there come a time in 2023 that your mom became frustrated, Audrey Wishlager became frustrated with paying the bills?
Yeah, she was always that we were there, but it seemed like she still was doing it. And it was, we got behind, but we always caught up somehow or another.
When she left, did there become a time where she handed over the checkbook to you?
I didn't get in the house before Frank did, but one time it was all on the chair for him and she's in a bag for him to take over and do it himself. At one time, that LA, what they're saying was helping with the checkbook. And them two were keeping right up with the checkbook, the two of them. Would have been Linda Maine was helping my mom with the checkbook, and we had businesses that would tell us when she started helping us, that's how we were starting to keep up with the more to build, but she was helping her with her checking account too, our checking account, making sure that she wasn't getting anything overdrafted.
And when you received the checking account, were you guys behind on a couple of bills?
Yep,
And were you able to bring those bills current?
yep.
And in November of 2023, when Mr. Pelega came out to the farm, how many times did he come out to the farm?
Twice.
And the first time, what happened?
We were gonna sign, the deeds over, and then when we were in the process of signing the deeds over, he looked it over. And he could see something that could be done down the road, so we had to, change something in it, and I wasn't involved in that part of it, but something got changed in it, and then he came back a second time. And when he came back the second time, he came in and I took him, went in the house with him by mom, and I said I had to go pick Frank up from the field, because he had to get a green truck in, field, and we didn't want to do it that day, because I never came to help me school.
So that day that,
And then I had to go pick him up, and then we came back and signed. And when Brian Prill walked out of the house, he asked my mom twice if you knew you were signing all the ground over to Jeff and Frank, and she said twice to Brian Wishlager, yes, I know, there is it,
and you were there when that happened.
yes.
And was there any discussion with your mom at that point about the East Barn
Nope,
on November 23rd, 2023?
nope.
Okay, nothing further, Your Honor.
Cross-examination.
That's fine, thank you.
Your testimony about Linda Maine helping your mom with the checking account, is that based on your personal knowledge or what Frank told you?
My personal knowledge.
All right, so it's your
Was
testimony.
there was one time where they were paying on a bill for John Deere's and I told them what they had to pay on it instead of just paying a bill, say it's for this amount and it'll help us with the interest on it. I pointed that out to them and so and they were in the process of paying the bills, but she just helped my mom. Cause I did all anything out there and to keep track of that money, so she wasn't overdrafting any checks.
Sir, do you, own a vehicle?
Yep,
And have you always owned a vehicle since you were an adult?
nope,
When did you buy a vehicle?
probably when I was about 40 years old, for spirit going in my name.
Did you have vehicles that you drove that weren't in your name?
Yep,
And you purchased those?
the one we purchased, and I ain't sure what year it was a 98 pickup and I was around probably in my 40s when we got that vehicle, first vehicle up in my name.
Now, with regard to your testimony, you said you didn't get a salary. Is that what you told us?
Yep,
But you, split the revenue from the milking, 25, 25, 50, right?
that was first in 2011 or around that time.
All right, so,
Before that, I never had no money was put on there and Social Security in my name until then, after we were in the parlor a while.
so that's what was shown, for Social Security, but you're not saying that you never had money to buy things if you needed money, are you?
$2 here, $3 there, to say I could go out and buy a vehicle, nope.
Right? And, you never paid any money to live at the house, did you?
Nope.
And all the food and everything was supplied for you, right?
If you can get somebody to work for a farmer and do what I did for just that farmer would be the happiest person in the world.
All right, well, let's talk about, the split. So is it your testimony in 2011, the income was being split 25% to you, 25% to your brother Frank, and 50% to your mom and dad?
Yep,
And is that also the same time frame that you talked about, that you had to get the, number, for the,
hungry for what?
for the showing where the income was going? You talked about, with DFA or the,
That was done in 1997.
all right. So even though in 1997, it was showing you were on the account because apparently you were the one
I wasn't
available.
on their account.
Wait, just wait for the question to be finished. Go ahead.
All right, so you were the one that was listed with DFA, is that true?
Yep,
All right, and was that not Wishlager Farms,
nope,
just you individually?
yep.
And did you in fact transport, did Wishlager Farms transport all the milk through DFA?
First it was Michigan Independent.
From
Farm.
97 forward, did you transfer through
It was-
DFA?
Yep, that, my mom claimed all that money, my mom and dad. I didn't put nothing in my name.
Okay, and so the 25, 25, 50 split came, in 2011, is that what?
Around then, I decided that year I'd have to look for sure. But when the parlor was built in 2006, it was all going in my mom's name, actually.
And this was a tax issue, was it not?
So the 10 W-90 came in my name from the milk. Anything that was done with DFA, my mom, dad, or Frank can't do nothing with DFA besides me. I'm the only one who can do anything with DFA.
I see. Okay, so you basically, previously told me that the fact that the income was shared 25, 25, 50, meant that you felt you owned something, right? You should be an owner of the farm because you were splitting the income.
I just figured whatever it is, I was happy doing what I was doing. As long as I was milking cows with my mom and dad, what more could I do?
That was a life that you enjoyed, right?
Oh, yeah.
Stayed home on the farm
Couldn't do anything better than that.
and you enjoyed being with your
Gave up
parents.
part of
Yeah.
life too. Didn't bother me though. You work 7 days a week, your whole life, it don't really matter what you do anymore.
So you told us here today that Linda Maine is the one that drafted the document that is Exhibit 7, which is the deed, right?
Well, my mom asked her to,
Okay,
from what
take
I,
a listen to the question. You told us that Linda Maine is the one that drafted it, right?
yep,
Okay, and, you then went on to say that your mother asked her to do that.
yep,
That's what you told this court under oath, right?
yep.
And, did you see your mother ask Linda Maine to draft that?
I wasn't involved, nope.
Okay, so you're saying what somebody else told you, is that true? Okay, and that would be your brother Frank, I'm assuming.
Yep.
All right. Now, with regard to, that, did you previously tell me, that you were told at some point in time, in conjunction with the signing, that you earned it?
Yep.
Okay, so who do you say told you that you earned it?
My mom,
Okay,
I do wish like you wanted to.
okay, and when was that?
The day we signed it,
I see. Now, with regard to earning it, that was the time frame that your mom was upset about the bills not being paid because you were,
that was after.
no, wasn't that signed in November of 23?
Yeah, but I mean, she was more upset with the bills after the was signed, or there.
Well, she didn't know about it in November of 23, but she'd already told you that you weren't gonna get a loan with her name on it,
We,
in her name, right? Isn't that what she said?
we couldn't get a loan unless she co-signed on the East Pine, but I could get a loan out to all the loans that were taken out to John Deere, or Greenstone was just taken out in mine and Frank's name.
Okay, because what you were buying, the property that you were buying was securing that loan as opposed to there being nothing to secure this money, right?
We were, borrowing money to buy equipment.
Right, but the equipment was the security for that loan, right?
Yeah, that's how we get the
Okay.
loan.
And so you were told by your mother that she wasn't gonna have the certain things in her name because she didn't like that they weren't being paid, according to how they needed to be paid. Isn't that what happened?
Nope,
Okay,
and we didn't pay,
well,
it's not fast enough, apparently.
you acknowledged that she was upset about how things were being paid, right?
They just weren't getting paid fast enough.
And even today, you're behind on many of your bills. You're going backwards even worse now, aren't you?
Nope,
You don't have a big debt with Kendi?
nope,
Did you pay that off recently?
it's paid in full. We don't, to tell the truth, I just had a load of soy delivered Monday. And they got a check in their hand for that load of soy Saturday.
Okay. Prior to that, you were behind?
Nope,
Okay.
we've been in since 2023, they've been paid in full cash every time it's delivered.
Sorry. Nutrient ag solution,
Yep, I owe them some money, yep.
is, you owe them money?
Yep, I owe them some money up, and that'll be paid, shortly.
So you're behind on their bill and you've been told that you have a cash pay only, right?
Yep, actually, I can't get nothing from there yet.
But you owe them 61,000, right?
Yep,
Okay.
I got 21,000 coming a couple days from now to give them.
So isn't it in fact true, sir, that, you and your brother knew that you couldn't get loans unless you had real estate in your name? You were told that by Brian Palega, isn't that true?
We couldn't get the loan to build the east spine, and, get a loan to build the east spine if the real estate wasn't in our name, but I could go up and get a loan. I got, just before that, I got 2 loans right back to back
Right. But not from Brian Palega, you got
No.
loans for equipment, right?
through Brian Flagon.
But you were told you couldn't get a loan to build the east barn from Brian Palega unless you had property in your name, isn't that what you were told?
Yep,
Okay, and when Brian Palega came out to witness your mom's signature, and you also apparently signed, may I have exhibit 7, Your Honor?
Yes,
And may I approach?
yes, you might. Do you wish to have 8 as well?
No, 7.
7.
Thank you kindly. Sir, when exhibit 7 was signed, okay, did you sign exhibit 7?
Yep.
Why did you sign exhibit 7?
my mom was, that's what we were, my mom, there was no loan ever taken out at that time. We even discussed.
Okay, so is that your signature on exhibit 7?
Yep.
And that's Frank's, right?
Yep.
And your signature is above that?
Yep.
And did you write this writing, 11/21/23?
Nope.
Who did that writing?
Probably my older brother, Frank.
Did you ever see any of that writing at the time you signed your name?
Yep.
You saw this writing?
Yep.
Okay, and what about the writing underneath your mom's,
Yep. It was
signature?
all there.
So that was there when she signed it?
Yep.
Now, you heard her testify that, earlier that that it was completely blank and she signed her name, that there was none of that writing.
That was all there when we signed it.
And, so it's your testimony that the Audrey Wishlager that's in handwriting, the Jeff Wishlager that's in handwriting with the J the wrong direction, do you write the J in the wrong direction?
I didn't write that.
Okay, so the answer is do you write the J in the wrong
Nope.
direction? Does Frank do that?
Apparently. I
Okay,
did it there. 'Cause I didn't write, that was all on that page when we signed it.
and Frank Wishlager, that was on the page too.
Yep.
Okay, now, do you know why you signed this document?
Because my mom asked Linda Maine if she could write out the deeds to put them in our name.
Okay, so your understanding of signing this document to get a loan was, so,
There was no loan discussed at that time.
okay. So you thought that you had to sign a deed to get property that your mom owned solely to put in your name? Is that your testimony?
Nope.
You were signing that because supposedly it was relating to a loan that you and your brother were securing.
Nope.
And, no, there was no loan. You just told me you were talked earlier about a loan for the East Barn, didn't you?
That was in 2017.
Okay. And,
That was
when did the Amish take the barn down?
probably in 2017 around.
Okay,
The
so,
exact year, I'd have to go and figure that out. Because then there was discussed about having, we had actually, Amish all lined up. We got a place where the Amish is gonna build, custom build trusts for the vine. But when we couldn't get the loan, and we could get the money to build these farms, that's when it was get done, we weren't gonna take long out to build these farms that.
But you went subsequent, and talked to Brian Halega about, doing something with the East Farm, did you not?
2017.
That's the time that you talked to him personally?
I did, my brother did.
Okay, so you don't really know, you're basing on what your brother told you, is that
My
true?
dad told me to.
Well, let's talk about that. So, do you think that your signature would be required for your mother to convey property to you as opposed to signing for a loan?
My older brother told my mom he was worried that my oldest sister is trying to take a sixth of the farm, and he didn't think it was fair for what I did for the farm.
Okay, so after your dad passed, right after your dad passed, right? Because he died in, was it October of 23?
October 3rd.
Right. So after your dad passed, you had conversation with your brother about him worrying that your one sister was gonna take a sixth of the farm somehow,
Yep.
and that he didn't think that that was fair?
Nope.
Okay. And so,
For what I did there.
and that was also, related to his interest, because you and he thought you should have the whole thing, right?
No, how was it? If it wasn't, my brother felt if it wasn't for what I did that time, and when my younger brother Kenny left, if I would have left around the same time, they would either have to rent out the farm or sell the farm.
So is it a true statement that you and your brother didn't believe it would be fair if other siblings got a portion of the farm after your dad died?
Nope.
That's not the case? You just told me that you and your brother had that conversation, didn't you?
Well, how would you put it? I don't see why I can't say what I should get from the farm, although my oldest sister and two younger brothers have more say than I do because of what I did on this farm.
So you feel you're entitled to the farm in some fashion, that's what you're telling us, right?
I figure I should be, because if I ain't entitled for what I did there, I might as well just walk out of this courtroom and keep walking and never turn around and look at this family again.
And so.
That's how I already feel about three of them.
Okay. And so ultimately, what you and your brother did is you were gonna make it so that your sister couldn't get 1/6 of the farm
We
and.
wanted to, I don't see how could you say it, we wanted to, it wasn't to say the 1/6 part is to keep, so they couldn't treat me like shit like all my cousins have done to, my one family has done to them.
Okay. So you and your brother then decided that you were going to make it so that there couldn't be something changed in the future where you wouldn't get what you thought you were entitled to. Is that true?
That's how, I told my mom a while ago that I would sign, but I need to see a piece of paper showing what I'm getting, and if I ain't happy with what I'm getting, I won't sign. And they were, at one time, they made us an offer on the farm.
Okay, let me stop you there. What you're saying is after the deed was done, you told your mother that you would sign the property back to her as long as you knew what you were getting and you were satisfied. Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
Because you feel entitled to more than other people.
Yep.
And apparently you felt you should get it before your mom died. Is that how you feel, that you should own it before she died?
If she wants the farm, that family farm to stay going, otherwise the family farm is, if I don't got it there, so right now, with this lawsuit, I can't even go to a bank and get a loan to do anything. Everything we've been doing lately is paid cash. That's why took me so long to plant my corn this year. I had enough seed corn to plant this amount of corn. Well, all of a sudden it's like, okay, I got some money so I can go get a little more seed corn. I got all my corn planted. I got all my soybeans planted. It's all paid for right up front. The fertilizer bill you're talking about is last year's fertilizer bill, and then kind of hard to make payments, make money when you're paying on another loan to Greenstone, what will be paid in full. Soon as we get out of here, and I can sell all my wheat, and then we'll pay them off, so then I won't have no liens. They'll be paid in full.
How many cows are you currently milking?
60, to say exact number, around 65.
And that's the number of cows that your dad milked way back in probably the 60s, 70s?
In the 60s and 70s, we milked between 40 and 50.
And you can't make money milking 60 cows, can you?
Back then you can, now I can.
Right. And so how long have you been milking 60 cows?
About 3 years.
And prior to that, was it more or less?
More.
And what's the most you ever milked?
Between 90 and 100.
You can't make money milking 90 or 100 a day either, can you?
Yep. How do you think my younger brother got the money to pay for that pickup? We had extra money at that time. How did we, in 1 year, we went up to John Deere's and paid $36,000 for a piece of equipment, paid it in cash, because if we didn't pay it in cash, we'd have to pay income tax on that money, and we paid it in full, and we still had money in the back pocket, yeah.
Nice. So.
You say we're just fine, it's next to, probably within, by this fall, we won't owe nobody.
The acreage, do you agree that there's about 700 acres?
59 acres.
659? How many are tillable?
7, let's see. I have to get 500.
And is that 500 tiled?
Nope.
None of it's tiled?
Part of it is, some of it ain't all tile.
And have you ever put tile in since you were 25, 50 with your parents?
Yep. And I can't say the exact year. 1 year, my dad went up to, I didn't know he was doing it, talked my uncle into town, some of his farm, and my dad went up and took out a loan, 21,000 when we were farming, borrowed 21,000. And we put 21,000 into my uncle's farm, and we didn't even own it at that time.
Did you ultimately buy that property?
Yep.
Were you renting it then?
Yep. Actually, we ended up in 2006 taking a loan out through Greenstone for 72,000 because they divided there was 5 left in the family, and you divide it by the tax value of the ground, and we got 200 acres. And beans, you take the tax value to get the last what we had all on the ground, to get the amount of ground we had to take all the loans to Greenstone for 72,000. And at that time, me and my brother were doing all the milking of the cows and the farming.
So, with respect to this property, you took it from your mom, didn't you?
Nope.
She doesn't own anything now, does she?
Well, yeah, but how do you say it? I didn't trick my mom into done. If you think I'm that bad, my oldest sister in 2000, a year ago in July, told my mom that they couldn't do the surgery on her leg because the insurance won't cover it. My mom called me bawling that the insurance won't cover it, and I told my mom to go get it done. I will figure out how to pay for it from the farm.
So back to the scenario here, you and your brother have taken everything that your mother owned
Well, she
Real estate
agreed
and
to it.
personal property, right?
She knew she was signing that.
I see. Yeah, you have to give it something. When did you first see page 1 and page 2?
Today I signed it.
Okay. Did you know that the writing on this document, Exhibit 7, didn't have any of the information that is handwritten until your brother tried to record it?
I don't, it was, I didn't, like you say, it was on there that, there.
So the question I just asked you is did you know that none of the handwritten,
It was
of
on,
your brother was on there until he went to try and record it and he couldn't without it having that on it? Were you aware of that?
nope.
Okay. So if
That's
that,
my, how was it, the day that it got signed? My older brother told my mom that he wanted to go out and start milking cows. And he didn't want to go up there, and she knew he was going up, she knew he was going up to the courthouse to record it. And he wanted to stay so we could get the beans off, because we had a neighbor coming in to help us to harvest our beans, help us harvest our beans that year. Because our combine, we was hoping to have it fixed by then, but we was waiting on another part, and he pulled in, and next thing you know, we wanted to get our black beans off before it rained.
okay. So my question, sir, was about the writing on the handwritten portions on page 2 and 3. You've
This is
earlier,
on,
you've earlier identified that as being what you think is
I
your
don't know
brother's
what
writing.
that, that's all I know, if it's all I seen when I signed it, was like this. All three of us signed it, and Brian Plaga signed it at that time.
Right, and when you earlier told me this handwriting that your brother had was on it, that wasn't true, was it? Because he did that at the register of deeds.
I don't know when he did that.
Okay, so when you told me earlier about the handwritten portion, you were mistaken, weren't you?
I guess if it was, if it was on there, I had so much on my mind, that's all I had on my mind that day, is how to get out the field and get the black beans into the elevator.
And you never actually saw pages 1 and 2, prior to
Well, I knew,
24, did you?
I knew that's what you were in the process of doing.
You knew what they were doing, but you never saw them the day you signed on page 3, did
We
you?
did- Well, that day when we signed it, like I said, we wanted to get our black beans off so I could make our payments, because if I don't get the beans in the elevators, I can't make money to, you let a crop in the field, you can't make money, and everything was paid.
But just to be clear, you were told, you knew what it said because your brother had told you what he was doing, right?
My mom asked, that's
Okay.
over, I didn't get,
You knew what your
Okay.
brother told
Wait,
you.
wait, wait, wait. I need a question and then an answer, so please don't interrupt each other. Please try to
Thank
get
you,
it.
sorry. So let's go back. You just came in and signed your name.
Yep.
That's all you did. You didn't read anything, you didn't see anything, you came in and signed your name because you were worried about the black beans, right?
and then when Brian Plager walked out of the house, he asked my mom twice, do you know you just signed all the ground over to you?
That's what Brian Plaga said.
Yep,
You know, Brian Plaga testified he never saw it, pages 1 and 2 either.
well, that's what he said in the, house there.
You know that Brian Plaga testified that he never saw pages 1 and 2 ever?
Well, that's what he said when he walked out of the house. That's what I heard him say out of his mouth.
That's not true, is it, sir?
Yes, it is.
So it's your testimony that Brian Plaga said to your mother, after being a notary to her signature, that you just signed everything away to your boys?
Yep.
And what did your mother say in response to that?
Yes, the two boys don't, they earned it.
Okay. Do you recall giving a deposition?
Yep.
And you told me at your
Which
deposition,
one?
pardon?
which deposition?
Well, did you give more than one deposition?
Well, we did one with at your place with my mom and me and my brother. Mike Doors. Brian Flagel.
No, I'm talking about your deposition, sir.
Yeah, well, I'm just asking you, okay, you're asking about a deposition. I was there when you did all of them.
Okay. And with regard to the, East Barn, when did you have the Amish at your house last?
They weren't, the last one we tore down in 2017.
Okay, so that's when they were last there?
Yep.
And you had talked about fixing it from 2017 forward, right?
Just when I wasn't trying to get the loan to Greenstone, unless our name was on the property, then it was kind of dropped. We just, we'll just figure out what we can do after that. Like I told everyone from nutrients the other day, I only can hold it just so long, that's all the money I can get out of the town.
May I approach you on
Yes, sure.
Sir, you said that you recall being at my office for a deposition, right?
Yep.
All right, do you remember me at that time asking, you wanted your mother to get additional loans to expand and she wasn't agreeable in the fall of 23, true?
We never asked for a loan to expand if we were gonna expand. Put it this way, in 2005, I walked, Franker testified to this, I went up to my dad, come on, how long you figure you're gonna milk the cows? And I go to him, because the day you wanna quit milking the cows, the day your cows are gonna go. And I was gonna build a parlor, well, I built a parlor on the time.
Sir, can you read?
What?
You can read.
Yeah, I'm slow reading.
Okay, well, let's go over that. Here's the question. You
Page and
want-
line number.
Yep, sorry, page 46. And line 11. You wanted your mother to get additional loans to expand and she wasn't agreeable in the fall of 23, true? Your answer was yep.
Apparently, about anytime we wanted, that was discussed about there. Well, I built the parlor in 2006, and then a couple of years later, I built the freestyle barn.
All right, and then line 15. And so what you and your brother did was, is you orchestrated this quitclaim deed and the property transfer that's dated December of 23, true? And your answer was yep.
I guess, apparently.
Because you knew that you couldn't get a loan without having real estate in your name, because you had already been told by Brian Palega.
Wait, again, let's finish with the question, go ahead.
So you knew you couldn't get a loan through Brian Palega without the real estate in your name. You knew that, right?
I could get a loan just for the East Line. I could get any other loan through Brian Flagger.
Were you the one that set up the separate bank account, or was that your brother that did that?
Well, we set up the second bank account because I can't get the exact years. At that time, my sister was my mom's right there, and we had a loan payment due with Greenstone, and we had the money in the account, and I asked my mom if she wrote up the check to Greenstone, both loan payments, and she says yes, but then all of a sudden, I got a bill showing it wasn't paid, so then when we found out if I'm in there milking cows, and the check's in my name, why should I put that money in that account if they ain't gonna pay what it's going for?
So my question was, were you the one that set up the separate account in May of 24?
No,
Did your brother do that?
the bank, when he was in there, the checks are in their name. My mom, how do you say it? My dad was my gopher and he became my gopher. He goes and gets what it, like that, he does all that part. I do all the, fixing on the farm. I probably leave the farm maybe two or three times, used to be a little bit more now. But in the last while, the only way I leave the farm is if I come up to the court, we go to a doctor's call, otherwise I'm there working 7 days a week.
All right, sir. You previously testified that you set up a separate account in May of 24 after you orchestrated this transfer of real estate personal property, right?
That was in May when the bank says, because if the checks are in our name, and they ain't paying the bills like we were asking, and, so we set up a separate checking account, so we knew what our money was going for, because I ain't gonna work for somebody, keep milking cows and not be able to keep the bills paid.
So you just explained to me why you purportedly did it, but you would admit that you set up a separate account in May of 24, and your mom then was living only off of Social Security, right?
Whatever she wanted at that time, I would have gave her. Actually, at that time, my oldest sister Barb, around then, said she ordered new countertops for my mom for the kitchen. She said they were coming from self-serve lumber, but all of a sudden, nope, then they ain't getting it. Then when she got kicked off as my mom's executor, she told my mom she couldn't afford to buy the countertops. My mom asked me if I'd buy a countertop for a kitchen countertop, and I said yes.
Oh, okay,
Hold on,
time out. This is the court stepping in.
Yeah.
We have to be, I've been very patient.
Right.
I've been very patient with this. A question is posed, just simply answer the question to the best of your ability, sir.
Well, I just explained why.
Well, again, but I think you need to listen to the question too. Just listen to the question. You can give your answer, we'll move on, but we're getting off topic here. We're not getting the answers that the court's looking for. Just simply listen to the question and then answer it to the best of your ability, sir.
All right. Sir, do you recall your deposition when I said, so did you ever have and this is page 45, line 10. So did you ever have a conversation with your mother that you were going backwards instead of forwards regarding this dairy operation? And you answered, I told her the only way we're going to stay afloat is if we buy cows. In question, was that something that your mother initiated or you initiated? Answer, I did. And when was that? It's just about probably 23.
Actually, before that.
In your deposition, that's what you testified.
Well, I actually, it was probably years before that.
I see. And your
But
mom
you
wasn't
recall-
agreeable, true?
What?
Your mom was upset about the finances and she wasn't giving you any more credit on her name. Isn't that
She
true?
never took any credit on her name. We got it on our own name at Greenstone.
You earlier told me she was upset about payments on a bill that was in her name for the farm, didn't you?
Well, it gets paid. That's the way it was with Dad, when our dad was alive too.
Okay. Nothing further.
Read away.
In your previous deposition, did you state that in May, you started a new, May of 2024, you started a new account?
Yep.
And so who started paying the checks May of 2024?
Frank did all the checking account, the checking data of it, we set up a checking account in our name, so we knew if our milk check was going to what we wanted it to go to. But if whatever my mom wanted, she knew she could come and get it from me.
So it's your testimony that you never got a loan for the East Barn, correct?
Yep,
And that your mom willingly signed over the 10 parcels of land on November 23rd of 2023, is that correct?
yep,
And that you heard Mr. Galega ask, do you understand that you just signed up all your land to Frank and Jeff?
yep,
And what was your mother's response?
yes, they answered.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
You cross.
I thought earlier you told us that all you did was sign and then skedaddle because you had to take the black beans out.
That was as we were walking out the doors.
I see. Nothing further.
Anything else?
Nothing further.
Sir, you sit down. 12:23, according to the court's clock, we will take our noon recess, reconvene. We'll start at 1:30. Hour long.
Okay, thank you.
We'll go. Court recalls the matters of Wishlager versus Wishlager, 24-105-963 CH. Continuation of bench trial. We are in the defendant's case in chief. Ms. Young, you may call your next witness.
I call Ms. Nancy Jacker to the stand, please.
Miss, would you please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. Please be seated. Ms. Young, you're with us.
Can you please state your name for the record?
My name is Nancy Lynn Hacker.
And who is Audrey Wishlager to you?
Audrey Wishlager is my mother.
And how old are you?
I'm going to be 58. I'm on this public record.
And where do you live?
I live just around the corner from my parents' farm on Berry Road. They're on Westwood Road, about a quarter mile away.
And have you lived there? How long have you lived there?
I lived there. I lived there when I was starting college in the 90s. And I got married in 1999 to my husband.
And can you tell me a little bit about your relationship with your mother in terms of what you helped her with personal stuff?
My mom would call and I helped her with grocery shopping more so when COVID hit. Because just feeling the need to be protective of them because of the virus, and also through prior to that to help with grocery shopping, helping set up my father's meds. And I didn't start to do that until several years back. My sister had scheduled a heart procedure for my father, and he went from being on 3 blood pressure meds to 6 blood pressure meds and almost died in a procedure that was supposed to be in and out.
Okay.
And then I decided to step in to help my mom with my dad's med boxes because he was on cholesterol meds and blood pressure meds, and it's just a little, I helped both of them.
So about what year was that?
I'm gonna say around 2014, 15 in that area.
And what do you do for a profession?
I graduated from college in 1993 as a social worker, and I worked approximately 30 years advocating for the development of mentally disabled, 25 in San Luis County, and the mentally ill. And then I took a job closer to home because my parents were having more health issues going on. And at that time, then I went back to Carroll as a case manager. They were short by 7 staff for 2 years.
And, so you had a good relationship with both of your parents.
Yes, I did.
And did your mom often call you to tell you about things that were happening on the farm?
Sometimes she would call me and ask me my opinion about things or tell me things that were going on.
Did she,
Yes.
did she ever tell you that she had an estate land on?
Back actually in 2019, 2020, I encouraged my mom for her and dad to develop a will and to consider signing off farm assets in their name because of the risk of a nursing home care going back 5 years to collect if they ever needed it. I pray they never did, and my dad didn't, but there were attempts a few times to have my dad put in a nursing home. Some of the procedures he had complications with.
And did there come a time that she told you that she had visited Mr. Clark's office?
Yes, she did. She told me when I was over visiting, whether it was setting up meds on a Saturday or Sunday, she said that her and dad went up there and they made a will and they didn't want any of us to open it until my father and her passed. And prior to her going up there, she said, I just want to make all my children happy. And I told her she needed to do what she felt was best, that her and dad felt was best, because I didn't think it would be realistic to make all siblings happy with their decisions. And she said she put it in a special spot in the house after she did it. She did complain on how much it cost, because attorneys aren't cheap. And I told her it was in a cabinet she inherited from my Uncle Raymond, some cabinet. And I told her to really not tell me, because I had to clean her house, mainly when my sister and she was having company come over. But I told her to let Jeff know, because she's been with a long time and I'm not gonna remember where it is.
Did there come a time where you helped her with her checkbook?
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about that?
My mom and dad were having health issues and I would take them to the emergency room to their doctor's appointment, because after my sister fired their Dr. Scatton, I ended up finding Nancy Hunt, who they liked to go to and visit, or while I was at work, I could take off on my lunch break to be there to help them with their appointment. But, can you repeat the question again?
Did there come a time you helped your mom with her checkbook?
Yes, my mom, asked me to help her with it. There was a period of time that she just quit writing for a few months, and I would go up to her bank at Independent Bank when she would write a check out for me to grocery shop, but to get a printout of it and help her balance it out. Some of the things that set it off was when my dad was on the meds, we decided to go with a mail order company, and they got their first and only debit card that we only used to pay for the co-pays of the medications and to order my dad and mom's meds that I assisted him with. But she didn't, I think it was wasn't understood that it wasn't a credit card, but it was a debit card that was taking out of the check. So sometimes she didn't think we needed to record those in because my parents didn't use credit cards.
Okay, and after your dad passed, did you help with the bills at all of the farm?
I had to step back some at that time. I only helped mostly with medications, but even then, it was mostly running errands, grocery shopping. Because when I started working at Prill, I was working a 12-hour day. And my mom would still call me on my way home from work, pick up, get Champs chicken, I don't feel like cooking tonight, or I'd buy easier meals. But I did ask my siblings if they would be willing to help with some of the shopping, just because of the long hours. And then I started to have required, besides my 40-hour week, they were short on-call crisis workers. So I had to work my 40-hour week, but then I would be called at 12:30 at night, and not get home till 4:30 in the morning, doing a crisis assessment on someone.
Okay, so
And I
let me,
have to be to work at 8:30, so I just, and my husband was having more health issues too, so I wanted some support.
but you still remained in good contact with your mother after your father passed away, is that correct?
Yes,
And she'd often call you about just everyday, day-to-day things.
yeah,
Did there become a time where she told you that a person by Linda Maine was helping her with the checkbook?
yes, she did.
And,
Actually, she told me she was helping her with some, business that she was doing, and I asked her how it was going. Was she doing everything that you asked her to do? And she said, yes.
did you ask her at the time, or did you know why she was asking Linda to help her?
Object hearsay.
I'll retract that. Did you talk to your mother about the deed that happened on November 21st of 2023?
I know when my mom, after my dad died, my mom and we were grieving. And, I know that my mom told me she knew the decision she made about the land, but there was confusion about the Knights of Columbus policy that was in my dad's name. And I let her know that while she was in the hospital for approximately a week or 10 days at my dad's bedside, that I got a call from one of the Knights of Columbus who handle the life insurance. And I told them to red flag it. And I called my mom and let them know that they wanted to talk to her. And at that time, she was angry with that man. I'm not sure why. And she didn't want to talk to him. But I asked them to red flag it then if there were concerns.
Did you have conversations with your mother about attorney's costs at any point?
At one point, my mom told me when I visited her after my dad died that, when there were very volatile negotiations going on and I was not a part of those with my siblings coming over and making demands. But, please repeat the question because there's been a lot that's gone on. Dramatic.
Yes. Did there come a time that your mother talked to you about her feelings about attorney's fees?
Yes, she had one point said to me, and I think it was prior to the lawsuit, that she was being encouraged to pursue by 3 of my siblings. She said, "This is a damn shame, Nancy. All the blood and work and sweat, hard work, Dad and Frank, her boy," she said, which means Frank and Jeff. She's always referred to my brothers, Frank and Jeff, as her boys. That this is a waste of all the blood and sweat and hard work on the farm. It's going to be wasted on attorneys.
And because she felt like that, do you know, did she talk to you about why she had Linda draft documents for her?
Object. Foundation.
Sustained.
Um,
Oh, wait,
No answer.
there's no question. Go ahead with your question. You may rephrase.
Did there come a time your mother talked to you about the deed that Linda was doing, Linda Maine?
no, other than she was telling me she was having her do paperwork for her, and she trusted her and said she was doing everything she asked her to do.
Nothing further.
Cross-examination.
You have no personal knowledge as to who drafted the deed in Exhibit 7, is that correct?
I actually saw it on the table the day that she told me she knew the decision she made on the land.
I didn't read it word for word.
Okay, so let me back up. So is it your testimony that you were at the house the day that that document was signed?
No,
Okay,
it's not. I
All
was
right.
working.
all right. When was the time that you had been at the house, from November 21st? When was the time prior that you had been there?
The year again.
23.
I went there a few times. I did my mom's hair for.
I just asked when, not why or how.
Um,
If you know, maybe you don't know.
sometimes my mom would call me to pick something up from the store, grocery store, give me a list, so I was there on and off.
Okay. And you earlier said that you understood that there was a problem with the Knights of Columbus policy. Is that correct?
I told my mom, when the agent called, I said red flag. And my mom was too busy supporting my dad in the hospital that she didn't want, wasn't up to dealing with this right now.
And do you know that Linda Main actually helped her with the insurance? Did you know that? That that's what Linda Main did for her, the policy?
I wasn't sure on what she did. I think she was helping with her checkbook and pay bills.
Okay. You have no knowledge of that. Your mom
I
already
just knew my
testified
mom
she didn't.
Told me she was helping her and asked her, and I asked if she trusted her, and she said yes. And then
So,
she was
okay.
doing what she asked.
Your Honor.
Again, I don't know if it's just the room, but listen to the question and just merely answer the question posed. If we need commentary, we'll ask. Go ahead, Ms. Prill.
So is it your testimony that you had a conversation with your mother after she and your dad went to Don Clark's office, and you didn't know what the contents of the estate plan were?
That was back in 2020. No, she told me she didn't want any of us kids to open anything until her and dad passed.
Right.
And I said, I respect your wishes.
So whatever was gonna happen after they were both gone, right?
Yes,
Okay.
or at least
And-
the will would be, I encourage her to put a clause in about if someone contested it, that it would be removed because
Okay.
she
So.
wanted us all to be happy.
So is it your testimony that your mom said that she doesn't know if she's gonna make some people happy?
There were a few times where my mom would make decisions about things she owned, that she was afraid of what Barb and Paul and Kenny would say, that they would be upset.
Your
with her.
Honor.
Non-responsive. Just answer the question posed. Repeat your question.
So earlier you testified that your mom didn't show you what was in the document, but she made a statement to you that she wasn't sure she was gonna make people happy. Is that what she said to you?
No, she told me.
Okay, no is the answer to the question.
Okay.
Thank you. So you would agree that the family is fractured and you and Jeff and Frank are on one side and the other siblings and your mom are on the other, is that true?
Because of threats.
Simple question.
I love my mom,
Okay.
and I will hope to have a relationship with her, but she's not living at home. She was taken from her home.
Again, please just listen to the question and answer the question posed. Again,
Thank you.
the answer was found as non-responsive. It's stricken from the record, not to be considered by the court.
So ma'am, is it true that you and your brother Frank and your brother Jeff are kind of on one side of this matter and your other three siblings and your mom are on the other side? True?
No.
Nothing further, thank you.
Redirect. Good job.
Do you know why your mom left the home? Her farm home?
I was aware on June 21st. My mom
I got a call from my friend.
Excuse me, Your Honor, and I hate to be, but that has nothing to do with my cross.
Court had stricken that testimony from the record.
Well,
That portion I did.
I'll.
I was,
Just wait for a question. It's okay.
I have nothing further, Your Honor.
Who's younger, next one?
I call Frank Wishlager to the stand.
So would you please raise your right hands? You swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Thank you. Please be seated. Who's you're with us?
Frank, can you please state your name for the record?
Frank Charles Wishlager,
And can you tell me where you live?
1100 Washington Road, Madison.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, can he speak up? It's hard to hear. Thank you.
He's speaking of that. Thank you.
And you lived on the family farm until what age when you went to, did there come a time that you left the family farm?
And 90, when working construction, Chris to May for 18 years, and Chris to May for 18 years,
And during that time, you were working for Kohler Construction. Did you also work at the family farm?
yeah,
And what were some of the duties that you helped out with?
I helped out. And they had anything going on, and I got home in time, so I'll help out, do chores, and so working there.
And when you were working for Kohler Construction, how much were you making per year?
35, just under $35.
Did there come a time in 2006 when you were asked to come home to the farm? And did you have a conversation with your parents about that?
He told me on the phone that if I come back on the farm and help out with the building the power, she would put my name on the ground with the
And when you say she, who are you referring to?
on
And Audrey is who's you?
my mom.
And,
I'm sorry, I didn't hear a date. When did we say that? What year?
It was 20.
That was his testimony, 2006.
2006. Thank you.
so, the last 18 years you've worked on the family farm, is that correct?
Yeah,
And when you came back to the farm, did you receive a salary?
yeah, $500.
Can you speak up, please?
$500 a week.
Okay. And was that equivalent to what you were making at Kohler Construction?
No,
So why did you make the decision to come back to the farm?
she said I could come back on the farm with Jeff, build the power, and she would put my name on the farm with Jeff.
And did the farm,
Jeff Wishlager.
and did the parlor get built?
Yeah,
And how many cows are you guys milking today?
right around 65.
And are you able to keep the farm afloat?
Yeah,
And right now, how are you doing that?
well, bought Huckers when the lawsuit first started with taking scrap metal out of DNW. And we wasn't showing no money for bills being paid, like we didn't have no money. So then I went in the house and confronted because my name was on the checking account and it showed this amount of money, and I asked Mom if I could get my $500 for the week because we weren't getting the scrap metal in fast enough and doing the farm.
And when about was that?
That's probably I can't think of what I'm saying.
Was that-
It's in the spring of 20. In the spring of 24.
So after your father's death?
Yeah, after.
And did there come a time where you took over the bills for the farm?
Yes, it was, I ain't sure on the exact date, but she said, she told me she put the checkbook and all the bills on the tape, on Jeff's chair where he eats, and told me, they're your bills, you figure out how to pay them. So I took the check and the bills, and from when we started the bills, we owed, Indy Farmers Elevator, $21,000. We had to pay cash for all the stuff we were getting. And then 4.5 months with the same amount of money coming into the checkbook, we had Indy Farmers Elevator paid off to zero. A month later, we had Brown's Dairy paying cash for the soap and their bill paid off till zero. So we're just down to Greenstone and one fertilizer bill.
And was this before or after there was a filing for conservatorship?
That was under during the, I think the conservatorship never quite happened.
Okay.
There was right just before the conservatorship.
And was it your understanding that your mother had Linda helping her sometimes with, Linda MAINE, with different things that had to be paid?
Object Foundation.
Rephrase.
Do you know a person named Linda MAINE?
Yeah, she helped Mom with a checkbook and helped her with the balancing of the checkbook. Mom wrote out.
Your
the
Honor,
check,
I'm sorry,
and
but
she
that's
helped.
non-responsive. I had a foundational objection. She asked the foundation question, and instead of saying yes or no, he starts talking about what he thinks happened without a foundation. So I apologize, but
Yeah,
Okay, objection is sustained. He did say yes, he knows Linda MAINE. Next question.
oh, I don't have the answer. No?
Just wait for the next question, sir.
Okay.
Is Linda a good friend of yours?
Yeah,
And how long have you known her?
35 years.
And how long has your mother known her?
Oh, 35 years.
And did you witness her helping your mother with bills?
Just over the phone, because Linda, they talked over the phone. Mom wrote out the checks and Linda wrote in the amounts, and Mom had the balance book just to help her with the balance. Just so the checkbook was kept right on balance, but right with that.
And can you tell me what, if any, involvement Linda MAINE had with the Knights of Columbus policy?
He was asked. Mom asked her to help with the Knights of Columbus policy because she didn't want the kids, us to know what it was. and asked her to help her to figure it out, and I was in the house when Messi came in the house, and he said that there's.
Object hearsay.
It ain't hearsay, I was. in
Excuse
the
me.
room.
Wait, no,
I'm sorry.
respond.
Was there a time,
Objection sustained, it's your second. Go ahead.
was there a time that you came to know that your mother asked Linda to help with the deed?
Object leading, assume, and it's also foundational as well as leading.
You may rephrase.
Can you tell me about the deed that happened on November 21st of 2023?
That mom asked her to help her do the deed.
Object hearsay.
It ain't hearsay.
Again, sir, you're not the court.
I'm sorry.
Hearsay.
It's hearsay because supposedly Linda Maine is telling him. It's hearsay. Linda Maine should be here to testify if this is supposedly what happened, and she's not gonna be here.
I don't know where this information is coming from. Is it
Well,
coming from
it's foundational
Is
then.
it direct knowledge or is it from
Correct.
Well, again, sir, you don't speak to the court, you speak through your attorney. We need to have a foundation as to where this information is coming from. Otherwise, it's sustained.
Did you have conversations with your mother about a deed that was going to be drawn up by Linda Maine?
Yeah,
And what did your mother tell you about it?
he was asking her to help her to do the deed. She asked in April how we're doing the deed and asking, and Linda said, pray about it, because
April of what year?
20, pretty sure 24. Or 23, it was after the June with the property. I ain't sure on the date, but I know she was asked to help her to do the deed because she didn't trust Clark, because Clark had to mess up on the deed, taking Jeff's name off.
Okay.
So she was, Linda had to pray about it, and a couple months went past, and Linda said, you sure you wanted me to do this for you? And she said, yeah.
Object hearsay.
I was in the room with Mom talking to her. And Linda.
Again, sir, you keep responding. No, you said, oops, sorry, 3 times.
Okay,
Enough, please.
yeah.
Wait for the question and the court's response. I need the foundation where this is coming from. Otherwise, it's hearsay.
I'll move on, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
Did you ever get a loan for the East Barn?
No,
What is the status of the East Barn?
it's where it's at, we never, with, Brian, I guess that we, to get the loan, Mom would have to co-sign or put our names on the land where the East Barn is at.
So were you able to get other loans besides that?
Yeah, we got operating loan that same year, the plant drops.
But you weren't able to receive a loan for the East Barn?
No,
Excuse me, is that correct? That you could not get a loan for the East Barn?
we couldn't get the loan for the East Barn.
That's all I know. Okay, because you said no, and it'd be confusing if you read it in the transcript. I understand his answer. Go ahead, Ms. Michelle.
Did there become a time you ever talked to your mother about getting a loan for the East Barn after 2017?
And after that, no, not after that incident.
And around November of 2023, did you receive any loans from Greenstone or any other place?
Not at that time.
And what,
So we just had operating on already and motion with Brian without doing it because it rolls from year to year.
one moment, please.
Sure.
Did there become a time that your mother told you she didn't want any more loans in her name?
Yeah,
So then you and your brother Jeff did what?
when we bought the tractor, we went up to Brian, applied for the loan. He said yes, and we got the loan.
Did there ever come a time where you talked to your mother about any deeds that were being drawn up in and around 2023?
Yes,
And what were your conversations like?
he said that she was wanting Linda to draw up the deeds for us, over to us, as we earned them. And then Linda replied back, and I talked to her, that she wants Mom to pray about it. So she for sure knew what she wanted to do at the very start.
Okay, so
Your
let me
Honor.
take,
You're saying, I'm sorry. You can't say what Linda Main said.
That part I agree, objection sustained, here's relative to what Linda Main asked,
Or even Brian Palega for that.
as well as Brian Fleck.
Right.
Hearsay.
Frank. Next question. Let's come to the day of the signing of the deed. Where were you?
I was Brian came in the house and then Jeff came out to the field to get me because I had taken the truck to the field to get loaded with me.
So was there a time that you were not present with Brian and your mother?
Yeah,
And then there came a time, who was all there to sign the deed?
just me, Jeff, Mom, and Brian Flegga. That's it.
And Brian Palega was there in what capacity? Why was he there?
This time did he have to notarize the deeds. And I figured,
And did, after the deed was signed, what happened then? That day?
as we were signing them, that they were all 10 deeds, you were signing that you knew it.
Did you go back to work that day?
Yeah, I went back to the meeting.
And was the deed left with your mother?
Yes, on the table.
So she had access to the deed.
Yeah,
And the next day, when you were getting ready to go to work, what happened?
he had the check wrote out to go up to register the deeds, and she said, take it up there right away this morning so we can have it done. And I said, I'll take it after we milk the cows, and I gotta haul in 2 loads of beans, and then I'll take it in the afternoon, and she goes, no, take it in right this morning.
So is your testimony that your mother had the check already written for you?
So before I got out of my bedroom and in the kitchen,
And then she asked you to take it to the register?
yeah.
Not to correct.
Thank you. Cross-examination.
And I have exhibit 7 in the journal.
Yes. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
8 as well.
Yeah, sorry.
There's
I
a-
normally don't ask for 8, but I need these. And may I approach the witness?
You may.
Thank you.
Sir, with regard to exhibit 7, I'm showing you,
Yeah,
there's some area of circled on the face page of, page 1. Do you see that?
yeah,
Did you do that?
no,
Okay. I'm showing you what is page 2. You see page 2?
yeah,
And there's some handwriting on it, correct?
yeah,
And that is your handwriting, true?
yeah.
And you put it,
They asked me in the register to do, told me what I needed to write, and I spelled that wrong.
okay, so let me just ask you a couple questions. You went to register the document that was signed and witnessed by Brian Palega.
Yeah.
Right? And when you did so, you were told by the Register of Deeds that it wasn't in a form allowed to be registered, right?
No, he said that, yeah,
Okay, and she told you that you needed to put the information on the deed that said drafted by whomever it was drafted by, right? Yeah. And you then wrote drafted by, and you acknowledge you spelled the word wrong, but okay. And you put L period A period, right?
yeah,
And you call LA, that's Linda Maine, right?
yeah,
Okay, and then you put Brian Palega, do you see that?
yeah.
And then you put his
Yeah.
address, please listen. And then you put his address down, right?
They asked.
Okay,
And, yeah.
okay. So they ask you at the Register of Deeds for Brian Palega's address, and that's what you put down.
Yeah,
Okay. You knew that Brian Palega had not drafted that document when you wrote that.
well, unless he outdo the repeat changing over some of the stuff in the document on the third page.
Can you listen to my question?
Yeah,
Okay. So when you were at the Register of Deeds with this exhibit 7, and you couldn't get it recorded because you were told that you had to have certain information, so you put the information on it, right? We've already discussed that. And you knew when you put that Brian Palega drafted this document that that was not true. Right, but you.
Brian Flagg helped her with the third page showing what she needed to change, which I don't know what it was.
Okay, well, let's talk
On
about
the
the
third page.
Let's talk about the third page, okay? So the third page had signatures for your mother,
Yeah,
okay? And then it also had a signature apparently for your brother Jeff, right?
yeah,
And for yourself, true?
yeah,
Okay. And in addition, you apparently had to put who the signatures were for because that's your writing as well underneath the signatures, right?
yeah.
And that also happened at the Register of Deeds because you
I
had to have.
didn't write these, man. This is my writing. This is my brother Jeff's writing.
Okay, your brother Jeff testified that he didn't spell his name with the backward J. Is that how you spell it?
No,
All right. And so
But
is it
I-
your testimony that
if you
Your
look at this writing.
Wait,
Ma'am.
sir.
I'm answering this question.
Well, no, she was still
I
trying
didn't
to
write it.
ask your
No.
question.
All right.
Ms. Prill.
Thank you. So is it your testimony that as to page 3, that the only thing that you wrote on page 3 was Frank Wishlager and your signature? Is that your
Yeah.
testimony?
Yeah,
Okay, and so do you know who purportedly wrote Audrey Wishlager?
each one of us did it ourselves because he said you had to sign and sign, date and sign.
Okay,
Sign,
were
date,
you,
I was in the room with all 3 of us.
okay, so you were in the room when purportedly the people all put their names and signatures, is that what you're saying? Okay. And Brian
Signed it right after we got it.
okay, and Brian was the notary, right?
Yeah.
All right. Now, after that one was done, we have exhibit 8, right?
Yeah,
And exhibit 8, the third page that you say somebody helped you fix, right? Well, before we do page 3 of this one, after you wrote in what you needed to write in,
yeah,
then the Register of Deeds accepted exhibit 7 and recorded it for you, true?
yeah,
Okay, and you got a copy of that, right?
no,
All right,
I love building, and it was the charging of building.
okay. And then, and that was done on November 22, 2023. Would you agree that that's what the deed says?
Yeah,
All right. And then we have exhibit 8. And you would agree that exhibit 8 was recorded on December 13th of 2023, right?
Yeah.
All right, so this was way after the first one, right?
yeah,
Okay, and,
but, signatures we signed were both the same thing.
okay, so it's your testimony that you had page 3.
I took this,
Listen to the question, please. So it's your question, it's your testimony that you had page 3 of number 7 exhibit and
Yeah.
page 3 of number 8 exhibit, and that you completed both of those on the same day. Is that your testimony?
yeah, we signed 2 of them.
Okay,
She had a copy, Linda made 2 copies when the, courthouse had the flooding, that if the room to courthouse, she would have a copy. To
Okay.
show that that was notarized and stamped. Done,
okay,
but it was signed the same day, we signed 2 papers when we signed. He
Okay.
handed 2 papers around signed. See today? We both went around.
what is done, sir, is that this one is redacted and printed and then attached to exhibit 8, which is then typed instead of your handwriting, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
He
basically
fixed
it was,
yeah. If it was not accepted, he put that in there.
well, it was accepted, but it got fixed up over a month after, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
but this deed here was still stamped.
Linda Maine is a personal friend of yours, is that correct?
Yeah.
And she lives in the house that you gave her, is that true?
I never gave her.
She lives there for free?
No, she paid me for the house,
Okay,
and I paid for the house.
I see.
We did it together.
Okay, so you both paid for the house.
Yeah,
You testified, sir, that in 2006, that you claim your mother told you that if you came back to the farm, that she would put your name on real estate?
yeah,
And your brother had lived there the entire time of his lifetime, not ever leaving, and his name wasn't on any real estate, was it?
it was took off after I quit holy, if you look at that.
Okay, can you listen to the question, sir? Can you listen to the question?
Yeah,
In 2006, when you purport that your mother told you that if you came back to the farm, that she would put your name on the real estate, you told us that, right?
she told me that.
Okay. And your dad was thriving and living in 2006, right?
Yeah,
Was this a situation where your mother controlled the roost, so to speak, that she was the boss of the family, or was it your dad that was the boss of the family?
they were pretty equal, but dad had the final say when.
Okay. But yet you're trying to tell us that you had a conversation with your mother here today, and she was the one that told you that she was gonna put your name on the deed, right?
Dad agreed with her.
Oh, I see. So your dad told you that too?
when I got home from work. And he tried that when we were.
All right. You testified, sir, that you were paid $500 a week, is that correct?
Yeah,
And you never missed a payment, right? I mean, you got out all of your salaries on a weekly basis, true?
yes.
Okay.
Except when Margaret's helping mom with the different help, 4 weeks with no $500. And it shows it on.
I see. So in addition, you were splitting the profits from the farm, true?
Letting the profits as one.
Weren't you using money that the farm generated to pay off the equipment that you were buying and the cows and all of the feed and all of that?
Yeah,
So you were having the benefit of the income from the farm while you lived there, just like your brother was, right?
I never took money when I worked for Kohler or before Kohler off of the farm.
Sir, after you came back in 2006, did you purchase cattle?
Yeah,
How many head did you purchase?
21.
And what about your brother?
That was purchased together.
Okay, and did you get a loan for that?
Yeah,
Right, and did you pay that loan through the income from the farm?
yeah,
Okay.
it was.
Did you pay for other things from the farm as well?
Yeah, it's like all 4 of us. And mom, dad, me, and the shop. It was a partnership.
Sir, do you remember giving a deposition at my office?
Yeah,
May I approach again?
Yes, you.
I'm gonna go to page 30. And question, line 15. When was it that you and your mom went to Don Clark? And your answer, that was when we were doing the east barn in May. Dad and mom went up. I'd have to look up the deeds to get the exact date. That was your answer, true?
yeah,
Okay. And then the next question, was that when we did for the east barn and she gave us 5 parcels so we could get the loan when we were ready to get the loan to do the east barn? Was that your answer?
yeah,
And then I asked you, so you just told me you couldn't get a loan for the east barn because your name, answer, we couldn't, wasn't on it. Continuing the question, and your answer, and that's why she did that, so we could. Is that what you said?
he was,
Is that what this says?
Yeah.
Okay, the next question, all right. So you admit that the whole purpose of the deed was so you could get the loan for the east barn, true? That was my
True.
question. And then you said answer, not this final deed, the earlier deed of 5 parcels that Don Clark has in there. That's what your answer was, yes or no?
yeah,
Okay,
but,
sir, with regard to that,
Just have
it's
to wait
true.
for the question. He's, for the record, witness is looking at me, and he's had maybe a perplexed look, but he has to wait for the question and answer the question appropriately, or truthfully, at least I should say. Continue.
Thank you. So, sir, we already know that you took your mom and your dad up to Don Clark's office in the summer of 2023, right?
yeah,
And you did so, and you said to your mother and your dad that Don Clark had made a mistake on the deeds. Isn't that what you said?
not on that.
You didn't, well, you just told us earlier, he had, listen to the question, okay? So you took your parents up to Don Clark and you told Don Clark that there was a mistake in the deed and it needed to be
No, I
fixed.
didn't.
Okay. Whatever you told him or didn't tell him, you made the appointment for your parents with Don Clark, true?
Yeah,
And you took your parents up to Don Clark to sign a new Lady Bird deed, true?
no, we went for a quick claim deed. Not later.
Okay, so you went for a quick claim deed that would have put the property in you and your brother's name, but that's not what you got, was it?
No, but that's.
Okay,
what we
okay.
have to do from her to do it.
Okay, so you had thought that you were gonna get Don Clark to make a transfer to you and your brother, and that didn't happen. Is that what happened?
No,
No. Then Linda Main is the one that drafted Exhibit 7, and ultimately that was a quick claim deed for those same parcels, isn't that true?
of the fiber of it all.
Of the 5,
No,
the 5 plus the ones you had in the Lady Bird deed, right? So it was all of the real estate that your mom and dad ever owned, true?
yeah,
Okay. The one that Don Clark did was regarding the East Barn, right?
yeah.
And it wasn't a quick claim deed though, was it?
No, you did a Lady Bird and Brian when it comes.
So you took that Lady Bird deed to Brian in 2023 to get a loan for the East Barn, and you were turned down because it didn't put it in your name, isn't
I
that
didn't
true?
even take it there. We didn't even go there because we knew a Lady Bird deed. I never talked to him again about it.
You knew you couldn't get the loan.
No, because it wasn't, what was agreed from, what she was gonna do.
Excuse me, Your Honor, one moment. Okay, nothing further. Thank you, Your Honor.
Report.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Court has some questions. Mr. Frank Wishlager, so I want to make sure I have the names correct.
Yeah.
You stated a few moments ago that you have known this Linda Main for 35 years.
Yeah,
And I believe you also stated that your mother has known Ms. Main for the same amount of time.
yeah.
So is it fair to say that you met with Ms. Main first? Or how is it that you met Ms. Main?
Bale and hay by Prill, came friends.
Okay,
And then she was invited over to our house for dinner.
okay. And my understanding is she drafted both of these documents, correct?
Yeah,
7 and 8. So if she was the one that drafted the documents and Mr. Palega was only there to notarize it, why would you write down that it was written by Mr. Palega as well?
because he wrote on another piece of paper for her, and that third page was changed to what he said we had to do. Or she would have to put in there to make it so it would go through. And I don't know what it was in there.
Yeah, I'm looking at,
I don't know what it was.
I'll show you 7 and 8, both exhibits. Can you show me what was changed by Mr. Palega?
I don't know. I never ever seen what he had to change or changed. I never was in that part of the doing the deeds.
Okay, I just want to give you the
Yeah.
opportunity. Okay,
You know,
and this Ms. Main, you said that, I believe in testimony that there's,
oops.
no, hold on, that she lives in a home that you own?
And she owns.
Okay.
But I live at the farm,
Okay, so you own a home together.
you know.
You may live separately.
I stay there once in a while, like when we were getting threats at our house and bullets coming through the window with the police report has.
Bullets.
And she was scared, and the one night I went over there was called, and I never stayed there then after it. that she could see someone going across around the building. And when she lived in the trailer, there was someone walked on, moved the ladder, what I had laying out there, walked down the trailer roof and unlocked, and I came there on it.
What year would this have been?
That's back when I first bought it, about 28 years.
Oh, I thought it was just since.
No, bullets in the window were about 7 years ago.
Okay. And do you know an Angela Maine?
Yeah,
Who's Angela Maine?
they're gone.
Her daughter. Okay. Okay. Questions in light of the courts? Questions in light of the courts?
None, Your Honor.
Ms. Drill, you may step down. You're next, please.
We rest, Your Honor.
All right, defense rest. Rebuttal, Ms. Drill,
Very brief, Your Honor.
please.
I would call, Audrey Wishlager back to the stand.
All right, she'll stay right there.
And you've already been sworn, so you were here, you heard the testimony of your sons, Frank and Jeff.
Yes,
Was that truthful about what happened with the deed?
no,
Did you ever have any discussion about the contents of that deed before your signature on page 3? Specifically that all of the real estate and all of your personal property was going to be attached to the front of that signature?
no,
Did you ever have any conversation with Mr. Palega about the contents of that?
no,
Did you believe that that was for a loan for the East Farm?
yes.
Is that what Frank and Jeff told you?
They're the ones that called, Plague out. I didn't know nothing about it, but they told me about the deed to fix the East Barn. But Frank or Jeff called Brian Plague. I didn't have nothing to do with it.
Okay, so you thought that there was something being done so that they could have a loan on the East Farm?
Yes,
Okay, not that you were transferring everything you ever owned in your lifetime to them.
no,
Would you have ever done that, signed that document if you thought that they were gonna do that?
I would have never did it.
Did you ever ask Linda Main to draw up Exhibit 7, the deed?
No,
Did you know anything about it before Brian Palega came out to the house?
no,
Did you ever ask Linda Main to help you with your checking account?
mainly just for, I want, the KC's, policy. No, I would say no for that one.
Okay, so you didn't ask about the checking account, but then you were telling me you did ask her for some assistance with a life insurance policy?
I think from the case, yeah,
Oh, for the KC?
yeah,
All right. And did you have a conversation with your daughter Nancy about her helping you with the KC policy?
no, I didn't.
Okay. You heard her testify here today that she talked to you about Linda Main helping you with something. Did you hear her testify to that?
Yes,
Do you recall any conversation with her about any of that?
well, we and Nancy never talked about the KC's,
Okay, so you did talk about the KC policy or not?
not to Nancy.
Okay, okay. Did you recall having any conversation with your daughter Nancy about doing an estate plan with Don Clark or anyone else for that matter?
No idea.
Okay. Did you ever complain about a bill for Don Clark?
No. Because that's his job, everybody.
One moment here. Do you know whether Linda Main was discussing with Frank or Jeff the life insurance policy for your husband before he passed?
I don't know that for sure, that they had it for, that she talked to them about it.
Okay. Did she talk to you about that or not?
Yeah, she wanted me to take it out before either one of us died. And we talked to our agent, and he said that would be a mistake because there'd be a penalty.
Okay.
And me and Dan, neither one wanted to take it out, you know what I mean?
Okay.
I guess, she said she read the Bible every day, and I thought people that read the Bible every day would be telling the truth, but
Thank you, ma'am. Nothing further.
Cross-examination.
Is it your testimony earlier today that you did write out a check to the Huron County Deeds, Register of Deeds office?
Frank did come in that morning, and he's the one that told me before he even went out milking. Yes, I did, yes.
Okay. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Redirect.
So were you the one that told him to go and take care of this, or did he ask for the check from you?
He asked for the check.
All right. And did you ever see the document Exhibit 7 in its entirety before he took it up to record it? Did you ever see it?
No,
Thank you. Nothing further.
Any other questions?
Mrs. Wishlager, were you alone with the document in your house?
I didn't look at it or nothing, no.
But you were alone with the document in your house?
Not really, no.
So you're saying you didn't have a chance to look at it at all?
Right.
Okay, nothing further, Your Honor.
Ms. Wishlager, there was testimony by one of your sons relative to your distrust of the attorney that prepared all your paperwork, namely Mr. Clark. Did you have a distrust?
She didn't hear the first part of the question.
Oh,
Your
let me
Honor.
try again. There was testimony by one of your sons seated here stating that you had a distrust for Mr. Clark.
That's not so, no. I never, ever did.
All right, it's the only question I have. Any questions in light of the courts?
No, Your Honor.
Yes, just one. Would you have asked anybody other than Don Clark to do legal work for you?
No, it was always Don Clark.
Thank you.
Frank was the one that called Brian Palega. I didn't know nothing about it.
Mr. Close. Final argument, Mr. Earl.
Could we take a bathroom break, just 10 minutes? Thank you.
We'll take a recess. We'll reconvene approximately 10 minutes.
Thank you.
Off the record. Court recalls the matter of Wishlager versus Wishlager 245963 CH. Proofs have been entered in this case. It's now time for closing arguments. Mr. Earl, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor will recall in my opening statement that I indicated that I had filed a complaint on behalf of Audrey Wishlager to correct an egregious fraudulent transfer of all of her assets in real estate, and that I would be presenting evidence to demonstrate that that's in fact what happened. With regard to that, Your Honor, I just would like to go over the proofs generally, because obviously this is a single day and court is always very thorough in taking notes, and I'm sure remembers practically everything that was said, but generally.
Don't be so kind. I do the best I can.
Generally, with regard to this matter, we had Ken Jr. and Paul and Barb kind of give us the nuts and bolts and the background of the family and that sort of thing. But when we had Audrey testify, I thought it was pretty clear that she was a very credible witness, had a grasp of the actual events, and was truthful in her testimony. And Ms. Wishlager told us that on the date that she signed this document, that she was told that it was to secure a loan for the East Barn. She was further forthright about that there had been some financial things and she didn't want things in loans. She wouldn't give loans or anything of that nature and, for the boys because she didn't like how things were going. She further testified that the Exhibit 7 and Exhibit 7, because I don't think she ever actually saw Exhibit 8 until after the fact. But Exhibit 7 didn't have any of the printing on it when she signed it. It was just the signature page. She told us that there was no conversation regarding the contents with Brian Palega at any time, and that she further never even saw the front 2 pages of the document. I believe that. I think that's exactly what happened. And I think that the testimony of the 2 witnesses, Brian Palega and Donald Clark, that were entered via deposition, buttress that and ties in. And so specifically, Don Clark telling us that he was contacted by Frank Wishlager about there being a mistake in a deed, and that given the descriptions for that deed, and that he then prepared a ladybird deed. Now, Frank Wishlager told us that that's not what he was supposed to do. He was supposed to do a deed, quitclaim deed for 5 parcels, which were the 5 parcels, and the court can compare the estate plan that was done through Don Clark's office, I believe in 21, and then the change in 23 on the ladybird deed that wasn't to correct descriptions, but in fact was to transfer all the other real estate by ladybird deed that the other kids had gotten and put it in Frank and Jeff's name. But we still have the same problem for Frank and Jeff because that's a ladybird deed and it's not a present transfer, and he still can't take that and get a loan. So he contacts Linda MAINE, his very good friend for 35 years, and has Linda MAINE prepare a document that is Exhibit 7. He contacts Brian Palega and asks him to come out and notarize. Brian Palega in his deposition tells us specifically that he never saw the first 2 pages of the document, and I suspect that Brian Palega would not be authorized to either draft a deed or even witness a deed of this nature. But nevertheless, he witnessed Audrey's signature. Brian Palega would also know that neither Frank nor Jeff's signature would have been required on a deed because neither Frank nor Jeff owned anything to sign for. What we also know is that Brian Palega testified he was only at the residence once. Exhibit 7 and Exhibit 8 are identical except the handwriting that isn't the best, the spelling that isn't the best, has been changed and is typewritten. And if the court will notice, it says on that document, copy. That second document, Exhibit 8. Because it wasn't original. It was a redacted document from Exhibit 1 that made it look better. That's what happened.
Exhibit 1 or Exhibit?
Sorry, Exhibit 7 and Exhibit 8. That's correct. Exactly what it is. And that ties into what Mrs. Wishlager says, which is no, that was a single time, one time, never discussed anything. I was told that this was to get the loan for the East Barn, and I signed and That's what I believed it was. Until she found out differently. But ultimately, what we have is we have independent witness Brian, independent witness Don Clark, that buttresses what Mrs. Wishlager says, because Don Clark, and that is that there was no discussion about what was in the Ladybird deed when that was done. And Don Clark testified at his deposition that he did not know that those descriptions were for the other 5 parcels that was not part of the estate plan. And he didn't know that until he found out about Exhibit 7 in January of 24. So the fact of the matter is that this was an agenda orchestrated by Frank and Jeff to make certain that the property could never be conveyed to anybody other than them. That was not their right. And they did so in a fraudulent manner by expressing to Mrs. Wishlager one thing when that wasn't true, when it was something totally different than what they had said. And there was kind of a perfect storm that facilitated that, because Mrs. Wishlager had gotten upset about the finances at the farm, and even the testimony of the boys. I don't remember whether it was Jeff or Frank saying that. I think it was Jeff saying that the only way the farm's going to stay afloat is if we buy additional cows, and the mom not being of a mind that she's going to extend on further credit when the bills won't be time to pay. And so, since she wasn't willing to do that, the reference is that, well, if you sign this, we can get the loan, and then it's in our name, not your name, and we'll be good to go. But ultimately, Your Honor, I don't think that the testimony of Jeff or Frank is believable. It's not credible. And what they said on the stand today is completely controverted in the deposition testimony at my office that was taken on November 13th of 2024. The bottom line, Your Honor, is that I believe on behalf of my client that Exhibits 7 and 8 must be struck, must be declared void. I would further indicate that the boys have actually had a benefit since 24 and 25 in utilizing the property, but my client is not asking for any accounting regarding that. She's simply asking that the deeds be declared void under the circumstances, and that her property be returned to her. As I said when I started, I think that what these boys have done should subject them to cost, and I still do. I frankly think that they're just lucky that their mother didn't pursue the criminal statute, because this is criminal fraud from procuring the deed. If the court has any questions, I'm happy to answer those.
I guess it kind of begs the question, but I guess I'm going to ask because I'll ask this young thing. Where is Linda Maine?
Linda Maine will not come to court, and she avoids service, but Linda Maine is their witness, not my witness. I took her
She was listed in your
deposition.
witness list too.
True. I took her deposition, and I know what she said. And I'll leave it at that.
I mean, as a juror, so to speak, in a jury trial, members of the jury may have questions, and that was mine. So,
Yeah, where's Linda Maine? It's funny because my client said the same thing to me, but ultimately, yeah.
I have no other questions.
Thank you.
You go, your floor.
Your Honor, in this case, we have Jeff and Frank Wishlager, who both worked substantial times on the farm. And it was their understanding that because they were working on the farm, that they were to inherit part of it, but never did they purport or make any kind of demands upon their mother to get the deeds done in those cases. She did this on her own with the help of Linda Maine, which I'm guessing you're gonna ask me where she is. I asked her if she would come to court, and she said she had extreme medical conditions that she could not be. So to answer that question before you ask. And basically, at this point, the plaintiff wants you to believe that she did not have any idea of what she was signing that day. But as a matter of fact, she was alone in the house with the deed. She signed the letter, she signed a check to the Huron County Register of Deeds, which she wouldn't have to do if it was a loan document. And she then gave the check to Frank to take up to the court. So I just let the court say that I trust your judgment, and I'm just saying that at this point, Frank and Jeff are just looking for this deed to stand because it's what they understood that they were to get, and it was their mother's decision, and she signed off on it, and we're just asking for the deed to stand.
All right, I do have one other question.
Yes.
Let's just say hypothetically, we just had the estate plans prepared by Mr. Clark. Upon, God forbid, the plaintiff's death, both brothers would have received the majority of the land. They have not, according to the,
Yes.
okay, that's what I thought by reading the deeds. Okay, thank you. I have no other questions. Thank you. Go ahead, Rebecca.
I want to make it clear, and that's very true, of the 700 acres, I think it was 450 to 500 that they were getting in the estate plan. I didn't ask my client whether she had ever disclosed what that was, but to my knowledge, she had not. And, but that's exactly what was happening. But ultimately, somehow, what's like that? Frank, told Mr. Clark that he had made a mistake and demanded that the 5 parcels that are included in all of them now be included in a new deed that was supposed to be a quick claim. Not only deed, he thought he was going to get a quick claim deed, so he was then going to go get money and do the East Farms, but that didn't work. And that would have effectively made it be so that all of the property, when she died, would go to them. But we found out about the deed. And ultimately, when you think about this, the only thing that makes sense of my client's testimony, and when she told us that she never saw page 1 and 2 until 24, I believe her. When we hear that, Frank Wishlager puts on there drafted by LA and Brian Palega, why would he put drafted by Brian Palega other than to make it look like something that it really isn't? Because it really was done by LA. Why, if it was there to be seen, didn't Brian Palega see it? Because it wasn't there to be seen. My client didn't see it, didn't know what was going on, and she trusted her sons. She never thought that they would do anything of this nature, but clearly they did.
and, the deed should be considered void.
All right, this is a bench trial. A bench trial regarding the validity of deeds listed in Exhibit 7 and 8. And I might add, not only real property, but if you look at the attachment on page 2 of personal property as well. For instance, Audrey Wishlager is also stating herein that any now owned and after acquired items and properties, including all tangible personal and farm-related properties, items, all farm machinery, equipment, livestock, growing crops, and storage, accounts receivable, contractual sales owed by others, all cash on hand, all checking and savings accounts, any all insurance annuities, life insurance policy payouts. Not a complete sentence, but that's what it spells out. All farming operations, including the house, all the contents, all vehicles, which are to now, at this time forward, to be in the direct and indirect ownership of Jeffrey and Frank C. Wishlager. So basically, the phrase is giving up the farm. Everything. I mean, everything. When you list personal property, including all tangible personal and farm-related property, tangible personal property could be the coffee pot, it could be the clothing that she wears, it could be anything, because that is personal property that is owned by the plaintiff at the time. And the burden of proof rests with the plaintiff to show by preponderance of the evidence here that this was not a hand type of negotiation, so to speak. And when you talk about fraud, that's even enhanced as far as the court's concerned relative to burdens, because fraud means it's intentional, it's meant to swindle, it's meant to come up with a plan that just basically nasty, so to speak. I can't think of a different word. That's what's being alleged. Now, we all know this, that when it comes to signing of documents, whether it be contracts, it could be anything. When you sign your name, the first thing is you're supposed to read it. That's the first thing. Second thing is when you sign your name, absent you not being of sound mind and body. In other words, if there's an issue regarding competency, if there's an issue regarding, for a will, for instance, the old phrase testamentary capacity, anything like that, to show, hey, look, there's something going on upstairs, no disrespect, that's not proper, then whatever may be signed was not signed with full knowledge. There's nothing in this evidence that the court has heard to indicate that the plaintiff in this case, Audrey Ann Wishlager, was incompetent, was under the influence, was under a medical condition that she didn't understand the nature and objects of the proceedings, for instance. There's nothing. It shows that she's indeed competent. So one can presume right out of the gate, well, look, we have two documents signed, notarized, and there we go. Also, I guess what's more disturbing, and I'll get to the statement of facts here in a bit. There's an old phrase by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe: "Never say you know a man until you divided an inheritance with him." And we have 6 children, if I have that correct, of the plaintiff and her former husband, God rest his soul. That a family farm that has been in the family name for years, and absolutely proud to be part of the working and sweat and blood and tears that go into it. I can understand that. I can understand, for instance, Jeff Wishlager being on the farm and never leaving from day one. Continued on. Didn't get a truck in his name until he was sometime in his 40s. That's pretty significant. That's dedication. Frank Wishlager coming in after working construction, but was always part of the family farm in some way, shape, or form, whether it be planting, or in his case, I think primarily milking. Was his function, chores, all the things that have to be done to maintain a farm. And it's not easy maintaining a farm. And when you look at these new farms out there today with all their newfangled equipment and all the money and expense, it's just mind-boggling how that works. But to do it the old way and the hard way, but still enjoy what you do, that's significant. Now, on the flip side, court heard from Kenneth Michael Wishlager Jr. regarding his work on the farm as well. And he worked for another farm. He's the second youngest, left his farm, started his new family, got a new job. But it did help with the farm as well. Not as much, obviously, as both the Wishlagers seated here. The same goes with young Paul, who did work on the farm as well as a kid. And at age 20, started working in the factory. He did help with the crops. He did state that the relationship with the brothers had deteriorated. Shocked and surprised by all of this. And then we even have a sister testify as well. And all that testimony, well, actually two sisters. First was Barbara Leach, who is now living in Jackson, has been actually for the last 31 years, and talking about the family holidays and how the Wishlagers would get together, cousins, everyone, for Christmas, all the holidays, and enjoy the time. And that's what family's all about. But when it comes to, sadly, estates and things moving forward, well, that's when you can potentially see the other side. And that's where that quote comes from. Never say you know a man until you've divided an inheritance with him. And I guess what's most troubling to the court is that the inheritance is not even here yet. We have someone who's from listening to her testify, and there's been no question regarding her competency. She's live and well and breathing and doing everything she can at 83 years of age. Now, is it comforting to hear that at one point in the house it was down to 34 degrees? No, that's not very good. But we have to focus on what happened from, sadly, from Mr. Wishlager's death moving forward. And actually, just to back up from that, both Ms. Audrey Wishlager and her deceased husband prior to had executed an estate plan with a well-respected attorney in this county. I respect him to know it. Whatever plan he devised, he planned that together based upon what Audrey and her husband wanted to do. And even hearing one of the other siblings talk about it, that, make sure I get this right, from Ms. Hacker. She had an idea that the estate plan was done, and it may be in one of these cupboards or wherever it may be, but him being the social worker, she did testify that mom told her she did not want that open until both parents were deceased. And it appears that obviously Ms. Hacker respected that, but at least had to tell Jeff where it was, God forbid, if something does come up. So, and her testimony, I think, was compelling from the other aspect that when she had a conversation with Mother, the plaintiff in this matter, that she wanted to make all the children happy. Easier said than done, clearly. It's much easier said than done. So the estate plan is put together, I believe in 21, don't hold me to that, but I believe somewhere in that time frame. There was a modification in 23, so to speak, regarding an error in the documents. And I think this is the most compelling difference between testimonies here between the plaintiff side and defendant side. The idea was to fix the error, but according to the defendants, it was not only to fix the error, but just simply a quick claim deed. Not a ladybird deed, a quick claim deed. Now, ladybird deed is still a quick claim deed. And by the way, when you look at all the exhibits, it says ladybird deed, and then right below it, quick claim. They're all quick claim deeds. But the ladybird deed is done for another purpose, which Mr. Clark can explain much better than I, because I can't spell probate, much less pronounce it. But I can tell you this. The idea of it is proper estate planning, stepped up basis issues where if a child inherits the property, if you take the lower value, the tax ramifications, I mean, that's why you hire experts to do it. That's what was done. Modification was done in 23, and I believe at that time, that's where Mr. Wishlager had to stay in the car because he was not of sufficient health to come in and actually sign the documents. But they were signed, and we moved on. Well, according to the defendants who testified, that would be for certain. Jeff had mentioned this, and I'm using first names. I mean no disrespect by it, but it's a lot easier when you have a lot of Wishlagers just to give the first names. But Jeff had testified that when it came to, I guess, the property in and of itself, you were going to try and get a loan to fix the east, I'll call it the east barn. I'm not sure what you called it, but I'll call it the east barn. He believed that was in 17. And Frank Charles had essentially said the same thing. Plaintiff's testimony was that was back in 2017. And according to the defendants who testified, they're just going to work it out, see how things go moving forward. And court can take judicial notice of farming in general. I'm not a farmer, but I can tell you based upon me sitting on this bench for almost 12 years, and being in private practice here locally, farming is not easy and it's not cheap. And there are bills and bills and bills. And everyone says it's so easy to be a farmer. It's not easy to be a farmer. You're at the whim of the weather. You're at the whim of market prices. You're at the whim of everything. And so it's difficult. And it all comes down to, what do we do about the East Barn? We move forward. According to the plaintiff's side of this, it's basically been simply this. We have a lot of bills going on. Maybe we need to sell the livestock. Maybe we need to sell the milkers. Maybe we need to do something different. I'm tired of the bills. Understandable. Tell that to the boys that are working their tails off to try and keep the farm afloat. I respect that. Well, what do we do about the East Barn? Well, you can't get a loan from Greenstone if you don't own the land. Sure, you can get notes from Greenstone for farm implements, tractors, you name it. You can, because you have the collateral built in. That is the personal property you receive. But when you ask for a loan on real property, the bank needs some skin in the game, and that means they need to have the property as collateral in the event that there is non-payment. So a loan cannot be had. Well, what's the only way to do it? Switch the names. And it's claimed by the defendants that this was discussed. Actually, mom talked with LA about this. LA being Linda Maine, that Linda Maine would help We get things put together. Don't trust Mr. Clark because he screwed up. That's the testimony essentially regarding the previous deed. We're gonna have someone else do that. Well, deeds were drafted. There's no question about it. There were 2 deeds drafted. And when you read it and go through it, obviously it lists the respective parcels. And then again, page 2 or 3, I just scratched my head, even all the personal property. I mean, it's giving the entire farm to the boys outright. Everything, I mean, everything, no doubt about it. To have and hold all the grantor's rights, title, and interest in and described properties here described, transferred unto the grantees and their assigns forever. Page 3 of the document shows a signature of Audrey Wishlager. Also a signature of Jeff Wishlager and Frank Wishlager, all November 21st, notarized by Brian J. Paleka. That's number 7. Plaintiff 7. So clearly, Mr. Paleka witnessed the signatures and notarized it. That's what he did. Then Exhibit 8, which is really a very cleaned up version of 7. Same thing, except here, other than the printed names being different, it's all the same. Notarized by Mr. Paleka. Defendants' positions have been, and according to their testimony, that the deeds were there, left 3 pages. Mrs. Wishlager testified she only saw 1 page. That's all she saw was 1 page. Then the court thinks, well, how do you balance that out? Well, let's look. According to the testimony of Mr. Brian Paleka, he testified he never had page 53. He only had page 54. 54 is the signed page 3. That's all he said he had. He had never had a page 53. He was asked to come and notarize signatures. He was not there because of a loan. He testified during his deposition that it's a common courtesy of his company to go in and do these things for their customers, because obviously the Wishlagers are great customers of Greenstone, and Greenstone is trying to pay it forward by providing a very important service, notarization. He also testified that any loans involving the Wishlagers were either for operating money or there was a $35,000 cash loan, but it was nothing related to the land. According to Mr. Paleka's testimony, he didn't see a whole document. He described Ms. Wishlager as a chatty, nice, elderly lady. That Frank and Jeff arrived later. There was no discussion in front of witnesses regarding what was signed. She was just her usual self, according to the testimony of Mr. Paleka. Well, that's not the end of it. According to the defendants, they both testified that, well, at least one testified that this additional language in 7 was there at the time. This page 2 of 3 of plaintiff 7. And I'm not worried about the spelling. I'm not worried about that at all. But it says, is how I heard the testimony, drafted by L.A. and Brian Paleka. Greenstone Farm Credit Services, 749 South Van Dyke Road, Bad Axe, Michigan, 48413. It appears to the court that this document was drafted, could have been drafted by L.A. I don't know. There's no testimony to that effect. Testimony that she may have helped, I don't know. But here's what's significant. There was a question posed by Ms. Drill. So if a prior page says that this document was drafted by someone with the initials of L.A. and Brian Paleka, she didn't even finish the question because Mr. Plega stated it's completely false. We don't draft documents, so I wouldn't be able to give advice anyways. That was his quote. Now, I don't think that's the end of this, because what this case rests upon is credibility. It rests upon the credibility of the witnesses to testify under oath, to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And I don't find anything in the evidence to indicate that Audrey Wishlager is either incompetent or not being honest, nor anything regarding Mr. Plega. As to Frank and Jeffrey, it appears to the court that first, had they known what the estate plan was, chances are we may not be here today. However, it was this court's feeling, based upon the evidence, that these boys worked very hard on this farm. And they put their blood, sweat, and tears into everything they did for that farm. And to this day, I give Jeff Wishlager a lot of credit, saying 7 days a week, you just get used to it. That's your life. That's respectful. And I understand it. But when you add the language here by Frank, drafted by L.A. and Brian Plega didn't draft this, according to his own testimony, which further leads the court to, well, why would that be written? Why? This court finds that it was written so that it would appear to be a valid deed, which for all intents and purposes otherwise could be. But it was to further buttress the position that, look, this is what happened. And it appears to the court that both Frank and Jeff, who worked their tails off on this farm, were so blinded by all the work and effort that they just could not imagine that someone would even be interested in a sixth of the farm. How dare you, when I put all the time and effort, I work without a salary, I work without having a vehicle in my own name until I'm 40, for instance. How dare you do that to me when I put all my blood, sweat, and tears into this? That part I understand. But there was another way around that. That is to sit down with the family and say, look, Mom, you don't want to talk about the estate plan, but we really need to talk about this. What's going to happen? How are we going to do this? How are we going to keep the farm afloat? There's a good chance had, again, as I stated, both brothers known, the defendants, how this estate was going to go, I don't think we'd have a fractured family that we do now. But you can't do indirectly what you can't do directly as well. What I mean by that is you can't transfer the farm and everything, I mean, everything. You can't give away everything without having a discussion, and it doesn't appear that there was a discussion. This court finds that as it pertains to the deeds that were executed, they were done with the express intent of transferring the property over to both sons, despite the fact that there was an estate plan, number one. And it would be one thing, but when you add this written language, including Brian Plega, that's where I think you really stepped it up. And that's the fraudulent portion of this. I understand why individuals would be upset about, look, I put everything into this, I don't get much. But you can't do this. This court finds that these deeds were not done in an arm's length type of discussion where the parties could sit down and say, look, we need to make some changes or discuss it. And as a result of that, and frankly speaking, I think LA not appearing here speaks loudly. Loudly, it says to the court, I'm not showing, you can't make me appear, I get that. But boy, it'd be interesting to hear what LA would have to say. I think there's a reason why she's not here, a good reason why she's not here. And the court is aware, and I can understand, everyone needs to have the opportunity to give their story, tell what happened. But I can tell you this, you cannot give your story in a courtroom unless it comports with the rules of evidence. And that's why during certain parts of this trial, I had to stop the witnesses to focus on what the question was at the time. I know I'm belaboring the point here, but it is the findings of the court that based upon all the evidence presented, that these deeds are not proper deeds. They were snuck in, so to speak, to get the property transferred over. And as a result, both deeds are struck. They are declared void. And relative to costs under the court rule, the court is ordering that as well. Judgment to plaintiff.
Thank you.
That'll be all. Off the record.